For fantasy sports and wagering anytime and anywhere.
Indeed knows finding the right hire takes time away from your business.
Hiring a qualified data engineer felt like a second job.
More job seekers use Indeed than any other site, so there's no better place to find someone with the skills you're looking for.
I needed someone with a master's in computer science and database experience.
Plus, Indeed screener questions help you find your shortlist fast.
Now I'm back to having just one job.
See why more than 3 million companies worldwide use Indeed to hire. Post your job at Indeed.com/hire. Indeed, the world's #1 job site. Source.com score total visits.
Fantasy.
Even if Yelich and Jose Ramirez take a step back a little bit, they regress a little bit, sure, they're still going to be worth their first-round value. I kind of feel the same way about Baez, where even if he comes back and had his projection at like 270, 29 homers, 15 stolen bases, 90 RBIs, in that range, I would take Stanton over him. I would take Aaron Judge. Like, I still think that he could be a second-round player, but I do like, getting one of those outfielders there early on in the second round, too.
Weekdays, noon Eastern on FNTSY Radio and on your popular podcast providers.
You're listening to the Fantasy Sports Radio Network.
Fantasy Best Friends Forever.
Do 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 do. Yo, this is the Fantasy Best Friends Forever here on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network. Alongside Frankie Stanfield, I am Greg Sussman. Frankie, what's going on, bud?
Frankie, happy Tuesday. Some interesting spring training games on the board today. Going to talk about the outfield position. Really see how far we can get into the outfield position because it's very deep. Well, not deep in terms of talent, but there's just a lot of players. There's like so many different players to get to.
Are.
So, I think we'll aim for like top 20, maybe top 30, try and get through like 3-4 tiers of talent, I'd imagine. But Greg.
Yes?
How did you sleep last night, buddy?
I slept great. Man.
Slept great?
I did. I went to bed now that Raw ends at exactly 11 o'clock, because Monday's Bachelor night, right? So Bachelor's 2 hours.
Shouldn't say that on the show out loud.
Why?
It's because, Bachelor, Greg.
I'm not ashamed.
Okay.
So The Bachelor. So Judy watches The Bachelor from 8 to 10. So I usually watch whatever the beginning of Raw is. We usually eat dinner at about 8 o'clock, as you know. So we eat dinner. She starts The Bachelor whenever we're done, say 8:30, 45, whatever. I watch a little bit of Raw. Then I go out and watch the rest of the last half hour, let's say, of The Bachelor. Then I get to fast forward to the last hour we're also live for the end. Now that it ends at exactly 11 o'clock, and baseball hasn't started yet, obviously there's no Monday Night Football, and the Knicks suck. So I'm
well, they didn't play last night, too.
And they didn't play last night. I'm all right, we go to bed. So I went to bed at exactly 11:09 last night. The next thing I knew, my alarm went off. I was wow, that was a good sleep.
I can't even tell you the last time that happened.
Yeah.
I'd have to be pretty inebriated for that to happen.
Sure.
That usually helps boost the sleep. Normal, random, weeknight.
It's great.
It doesn't go well for me.
Really? How often do you wake up?
Lots of tossing and turning, and I think about a lot of stuff when I try to go to bed, Greg. I think too much. That's my problem. I gotta think less. I just gotta do. You know what I'm saying? I think too much. That's what it comes down to. I do a lot of thinking in bed.
Yeah.
I also do a lot of reading in bed, which is bad. You're not supposed to read your phone and stuff.
No, it's bad.
Before you go to sleep.
Yeah.
I read a lot. That's the time where, people normally, the old-fashioned, the movies and stuff, you see people reading their books before they go to sleep and stuff. That's when I read a lot of, sports, fantasy,
So the problem
get
is,
my latest fix
the
kind
cool,
of thing.
So the cool thing about that is, when you're reading a book, you kind of get, lost in whatever, world you're in, right? In the book, theoretically. But you're, reading stats, and you're reading articles and trying to, retain information to learn about players. And you're trying to, obviously, just understand more and be more prepared and be better educated in this. And you're just, reading... And by doing so, it's just your brain is working too hard at that moment, I think. You get lost in a book. You're just all right, this is cool. And you get tired, you go to sleep. But you're so focused on this that you're not ready to, your brain can't shut down yet.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm doing this great fantasy baseball invitational Champions League thing
and
right
you
now.
are so crazily focused on it.
I'm stressed out, man.
You're stressed out.
I
You're
toss and
actually
turn. I wake up
stressed
in the middle of the night
dude,
God, do I want to take Malik Smith? Do I want to take Michael Brandt?
Frank made a pick yesterday. And then I'm not even in this league. And Frank made a pick yesterday. And every pick he was giving me an update. I was dude, you don't pick for another 25 picks. What are you doing?
That was not true.
Yes, it was.
No, I was giving you an update when there was like 3 people before me, and there was an outfielder I wanted. Speaking of the Mariners jersey, got a little Mitch Haniger action yesterday.
There were 5 outfielders that you wanted. So immediately after you took James Paxton, which is what I thought the right move was, you were giving me the updates on all 5
It wasn't
outfielders.
25 picks. It was actually like 15.
Okay, fine.
Hey, man, look, this is my first... I've done some best ball drafts and stuff. This is my first legit roto draft.
Listen,
so
I get it, man. I get it.
Breaking it down here.
I totally get it. But,
Fun.
like, if you shouldn't be doing it before you go to bed. Like, make a pick and then, like, all right, we can see it in the morning. You can't do that.
I had to make a pick last night. I ended up taking Jesus Aguilar in the 7th round. Something which you do not like.
I don't like it. It seems early to me.
7th round?
Yeah.
I mean, his ADP is a lot earlier than that. If it makes you feel any better.
It doesn't.
Yeah, I was just kind of like staring at stats and stuff for like an hour last night trying to figure out who to draft.
I'm sure Kingo was thrilled.
Greg, she goes to sleep early. I told you this many times.
I understand, but you say last night, like you didn't say like after she went to bed.
She goes to bed at like 10 o'clock.
And then you're like pumped.
No. Well, kind of. Well, not yesterday. She burned her finger, so I had to wash all the dishes. Brutal.
I wash all the dishes almost every night.
Yeah. And she was looking them over today, and she put a bunch of them back in the sink. I guess I didn't do a good job.
That's awesome.
I honestly was pissed off because there were so many dishes. It took me like 30 minutes to do.
What'd you eat last night? So many dishes.
Chicken, rice and beans, and like pepper. Like there was a lot of pots and like plates.
Pots, and the worst.
Like spoons and all this.
So we told you on Sunday night for the Oscars.
It was brutal. There was a lot of stuff to do, and then apparently I did it bad too.
Mm-hmm. On Sunday night, we like watched the Oscars. We made wings and stuff. And
Reverse logic though, Greg, because if I do them bad enough too many times, she'll be like, "You don't even have to do them anymore."
Mm. So
that's the hope.
On Sunday, we watched the Oscars. We made like wings and stuff. So we had all these dishes, and like we were eating at the TV because we were watching the Oscars. So she brings all the plates there and kind of just leaves them there. Like, are you leaving them there for me? She goes, no, I just like we're watching the Oscars. I'll do it. We'll do it later. I was like, all right. She's like, why can't we do them together? I'm like, yeah, we can, but like I just felt like you just literally took our plates up there and just left them there instead of just like washing them. We'll do it later. But it was all a trick. She played me. I got played.
That doesn't surprise me because Judy wears the pants.
Because she knew.
She's smarter than you.
No, she just knows my tendencies. In that, like, I wouldn't be able to just like have them sitting there. So remember, like, we talked for a while on Sunday night, you and I. Remember?
Yes, we did.
So while I was on the phone with you, I just sat there cleaning dishes, and she knew it. She knew I would be able to do it, and I did. I sat there on the phone with you, and while I'm
you
on
were
the phone,
washing dishes while we were on the phone.
I had my headphones in, so I was able to talk to you.
Pretty impressive.
I'm washing the dishes. Yeah.
I probably wouldn't be able to focus.
I don't need to focus on it. I wash a dish.
Well, I'm not good at it anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter.
All right. Today on the show, we're getting into the outfield preview. As Frank mentioned, there's so many outfielders. We're thinking this is going to take about like a 3-day affair. We were thinking Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Frank's not going to be here Thursday, so I'll take you home on Thursday with all the late round guys and the sleepers and whatnot. I'm hoping Ventura will join me for 2 hours. He doesn't know that yet, but
Ventura, if you're listening downstairs, 2 hours for you on Thursday.
It's kind of the goal here. It's having on Thursday. Actually, we do have a guest booked for Friday, which will be awesome.
Oh, a lot of fun.
Thursday, the second hour is actually going to be a combine preview show. We'll be in the combine, so Jim Day's going to be on here.
Nice.
With Chris and I. So I'm hoping that first hour will be Venture and I talking baseball, wrapping up the outfielders. In the second hour,
outfield sleepers, some Dr. A.
We'll do the combine. Yeah, the outfield injury updates with Dr. A in the first hour.
Please ask Dr. A about Justin Upton.
Sure.
Because he has patellar tendonitis, which
if you could remind me of that
terrible.
Tomorrow when I send him the list, that would be great because you'll be here for that.
Yeah.
Friday, we have a guest coming in on Skype, which will be awesome. It'll be somebody from pitchers list, which is cool. I know you're a big fan of that.
Yeah, Nick Pollock.
Yeah.
They do great work. They do a lot of gifts, a lot of videos out on Twitter. But not just that. I mean, Nick is a great fantasy baseball player, great fantasy baseball mind. I listen to work that he's done on the Sleeper and the Bus podcast with Paul Sporer. I respect his opinion a lot. So I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, pitcher list, we're going to start our starting pitcher preview on Friday with Nick Pollock. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yep, so there you go. So Nick Pollock will be on Skype with us for the first hour of the show. Venture, of course, will be out with us for hour 2. And we're hoping to have Ian Cotton tomorrow. I didn't want to announce that, but I reached out for him tomorrow. He's going to see if it could work, and we'd like to have him in studio, which would be great for like that middle outfielder. Which would be awesome.
Nice.
So today on the show, we are getting into the top-level outfielders, and we'll see how far we get, and wherever we land, we'll pick up tomorrow. Nice and easy. So we start at the top, and I have a very simple question to start this off, Frank. Can you make an argument that Mookie Betts should go ahead of Mike Trout?
You can make the argument for it just because he's been healthier the past couple of seasons. To me, that's really the only argument. On a per-game basis, Mike Trout is still the best player in baseball. But look, these are undoubtedly the top 2 picks in fantasy baseball. Like, there's no reason to try and get cute. Mookie Betts, Mike Trout, they're legit 5-category contributors if you play in Roto. And if you play in a points league, both of these guys make a lot of contact. They both walk a decent amount. They're both going to hit at the top of... the Red Sox is a little bit of a better lineup than the Angels, but pretty good lineups. They're both going to hit at the top there. So I think regardless of format, these are your top 2 players. I know that you'll see some people tweeting about how Mookie Betts has out-earned Mike Trout in terms of auction dollars over the past couple of seasons in Roto, and that really just comes down to the health. That comes down to, him playing more games consistently. So, yeah, that's the argument that you can make. If you think... you think this is a recurring thing with Mike Trout where he's going to miss, maybe 20, 30 games per season kind of thing. You worry about that. There were a few leagues in the Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational, and you'll hear us talk about this. The Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational is kind of like Scott's Fist Bowl, but for baseball. There's 15-team Roto leagues. There's about, I want to say 15 of them, something like that. There might even be more. But it's a bunch of different 15-team Roto leagues, and everyone's competing in their league, but also against each other for an overall. So we have a lot of data and a lot of average draft position data based on these drafts that are going on right now. And I know that there were a few drafts where Mookie Betts was actually selected ahead of Mike Trout. It's not like unspeakable. Me personally, I wouldn't do it. I would still take Mike Trout.
I wouldn't do it either. Mike Trout's still a guy. It's crazy that Mike Trout's been in the league for so long at this point that you're like, oh man, he's probably getting old. He's probably slowing down. He's 27 years old. He's in the prime of his career. He's the best player in baseball every year. All right, so maybe we get a little more speed about Mookie Betts.
Mike Trout has missed an average of 35 games over the past 2 seasons. So that's
yeah.
That's not nothing.
No,
that's a pretty big. That's a pretty big bugaboo when it comes to
realistically. Most of that came in 2017. Last year, he missed 20 games.
It still matters though. Mike Trout, Mookie Betts is a little bit more durable.
Sure.
Look,
have fun with that, man. I'm not doing it.
You want to talk? I have some stats written down for both these guys. I honestly didn't do much digging into either one because it's just if you just look at the surface stats. Hard hit rate, 91st percentile for Mike Trout. His sprint speed was 94th percentile, so legitimately one of the best athletes in the game in terms of elite contact and elite speed. At least 22 stolen bases in 3 straight seasons for Trout. At least 27 home runs in 7 straight. A 307 career hitter. With Mookie Betts, 346 batting average last year. Pretty good. Won the batting title last season. 129 runs, also led the MLB. At least 101 runs scored in 3 straight seasons, at least 26 stolen bases. These are your top 2 players. They're going to contribute in all 5 categories.
It's top 2 players on the board, but I do have to ask, is there an argument to take Max Scherzer ahead of one or both of them? Okay, great.
It's a fair question. Someone might be thinking about it.
No, I'm happy you shut it down.
You have that.
Well, I don't have
I have
that
decision.
I have Betts or Scherzer, sure.
Yeah, Betts or Scherzer. And
people have discussed that as well. It's just not just me. A couple of years ago, I had the first overall pick, and it was actually given the players that were kept and whatnot. It was actually between Betts and Kershaw at the time, and I wound up taking Kershaw.
Kershaw, by the way. Oof.
Yeah,
not looking good right now, Bob.
No, although it's not worse than Carlos Martinez, which is another thing.
Is it really not? Kershaw can't even throw a ball right now.
Dude, Carlos Martinez is in a sling.
Is that kayfabe? Someone's going to come out and spit a promo for Carlos Martinez.
He was
faking the injury all along.
And he just hits him with the cast. That'd be cool. Okay, so Trout and Betts go 1-2. No argument by anybody, right? Cool.
That is correct. And look, if you really do worry about pitching on your next turn, take 2 starting pitchers.
Sure.
You're in a prime position
Nothing wrong with that.
to do so where, I believe in my leagues, the person who's...
like Carlos Carrasco over there, right?
Yeah, Corey Kluber fell all the way to
Great.
that in a 15-team league. Blake Snell's in that range,
Sure.
Carrasco, Severino, Trevor Bauer.
It's great.
Walker Buehler. So, snag 2 of those guys if you really want to shore up your starting pitching.
Absolutely.
You already have one of the 2 best hitters in baseball.
Then you get to the next outfielder on the board, NFBC-wise. And by the way, you can check out Frank's outfielder rank soon enough inside his Patreon. But...
which you will have to pay for.
You're going to have to pay for that. We're giving you the infield and the catcher for free, but outfield starting pitching and the relievers, maybe we'll make the relievers free. But the outfielders and the starting pitchers, a lot of work, a lot of names there. Unfortunately, you're going to have to pay for that. How much is that going to cost people?
Well, we have different packages
for the rankings.
For the rankings, like reveal, that'll be like the $5 tier.
So that's the $5 tier.
But for like my updated like rankings that you could see like the Fantasy Pros, which I'm gonna plug in and like keep updating, that would be the $10 tier.
So ultimately, you want the initial rankings, you get $5. For the ones that are gonna be on Fantasy Pros, which is gonna update really every week, every month, that's gonna be a $10 tier for you. Listen, it's $10 you get the updated ranks. Like,
yeah. It's like a beer in the city.
Like,
Come on.
Take my money. It's $10 for the updated ranks on Frank's Patreon. And I do actually want to take this time to make the announcement that came out yesterday that Roto Experts this year is going to 365 days of football content. Football is obviously the number one sport in this industry. So that's where Roto Experts is going to focus. And there's a lot of great talent on the Daily Roto side and on the Roto Expert side that's going to contribute to that football content. Frank may be one of those names coming up after we get through baseball draft season. But if you want your baseball content, obviously we're all over Fantasy Sports Radio Network and all over the Fantasy Sports Network giving you that baseball content. And if you want our experts rankings, there's nobody that we have that's better than Frank. So please, if any money that you would have contributed towards the Roto Experts baseball package should go in this man's pocket. It's Frank Stanfield's Patreon. Now, in your Patreon, I'm going to assume that your next outfielder off the board was JD Martinez, who you've taken in drafts, in best balls, and whatnot thus far. He's number 3 according to the NFBC, and I've actually limited the scope to February 15th to today. So almost like the last 10 days or so, getting rid of early February because things have changed. Spring training has started and whatnot. So I've limited my scope February 15th to now.
Okay, I'll do the same thing.
Okay? So over the last 2 weeks or last 11 days or so, JD Martinez goes next, followed by Christian Yelich and then Ronald Acuna. All these guys, according to NFBC, are 5, 6, and 7. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with this as a tier? Do you agree with the order?
Yeah, so I have my top tier is Trout and Betts. I think they're in a tier of their own.
Sure.
To me, that's tier 1. Tier 2 starts with JD Martinez, and I do have it in the order JD Martinez, Christian Yelich, and Ronald Acuna. But I will say, if you are worried about the stolen bases, for example, in my Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational League, Acuna and Yelich both went before JD Martinez. So if you're someone who worries about the stolen base category a little bit more than others, then Acuna and Yelich might be where you want to go instead of JD Martinez. But look, JD Martinez is still, he's an elite 4 category contributor in terms of batting average, home runs, RBIs, runs scored, the ability to hit the ball hard. He finally stayed healthy last year because he was mostly a DH for the Boston Red Sox. That's going to be the case again. He's going to hit in the middle of a great lineup. 330 last year, Greg. That was second best in all of baseball. Behind who? Mookie Betts. Again, that lineup's really good. I don't think you can go wrong with any 3 of these guys. We'll talk about it more when we get back.
Yeah, absolutely. We have another hour and 40 minutes to go over all these guys. So stick around. More from your BFFs coming up right after this.
DailyRoto.com. Learn from the game's best DFS players. We don't just give you advice, we play every day. All major sports, all year round, we never stop. Industry-leading DFS tools and custom projections, and now, the DailyRoto.com Optimizer. In minutes, build an optimized lineup for cash games and tourneys. Learn from the game's best DFS players. Join DailyRoto.com.
The following ad contains shocking material. Listener discretion is advised. Is someone in your family playing a dangerous game of Russian roulette? Over 43,000 people die a year from drug overdose. 120 people a day. 5 people every hour. 1 person every 12 minutes. 88,000 people die every year from alcohol abuse. Over 240 people a day, 10 an hour, 1 person every 6 minutes. Somebody you know may be next. Learn how to help someone you love get away from the drugs, alcohol, and bad influences. With the FMLA, people can take a leave of absence from their job and still keep it. Call now and learn how we can help you. 866-484-9621. 866-484-9621. That's 866-484-9621.
FanDuel, hurry up.
Over the final 3 rounds, he was basically Dustin Johnson again. So we're getting him at not the highest salary on the board that it belongs to Justin Thomas. He does not have the shortest betting odds on the board either. So Dustin Johnson, I kind of think I'm going back to him this weekend, despite the fact the past 2 weekends maybe haven't been ideal. But I think that honestly, straight up, he is still the best golfer in this field.
Watch on demand on the FNTSY YouTube stream.
We are back here on the Fantasy Best Friends Forever. Fantasy
Now we're
Sports
back.
Radio Network. Now we're back. A couple of news and notes we do want to get to before we continue on with the outfielders. Clayton Kershaw shut down again. Left shoulder soreness. I know he's still available. He's still available in your draft.
Who is this?
Kershaw.
No, he went. The slide ended at pick 81, Greg,
Jeez.
which was the max pick. Max pick? Min pick? What would that be?
Max pick.
No, yeah, that would be his max pick. That was his max pick in the Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational. Across all the leagues, that was the latest he went. So he went in the 6th round at pick 81. And, I saw a lot of discussion about it on Twitter yesterday. Look, there was already reasons to be concerned with the decreased velocity, the decreased skills. I talked with Modica a little bit about it yesterday. And it seems like, a lot of people agreed that maybe he should have went even later.
It's only getting.
He can't throw a ball right now.
It's only getting worse when it comes to Clayton Kershaw, who has tried, I believe, twice now to get back on the mound and throw, and it just hasn't gone well, unfortunately.
From Bill Plunkett yesterday, Dave Roberts said Clayton Kershaw, quote, didn't feel great about throwing today. Throwing program back on hold. We already had concerns with, injury risk and skill risk in terms of, he's not striking people out as much. He's walking a few more guys. The velocity is down. You have to worry, is he going to go 150, 160 innings? And now you have to worry about, well, when is he going to pitch? There's too many concerns. I passed on this guy in the 5th, the 4th, 5th round as my SP3. I couldn't pull the trigger.
I totally agree with you. I think there's way too many concerns with Clayton Kershaw right now. Way too many concerns. And that shoulder's just not right. And this is coming from somebody who last year's velocity dipped. Everything dipped last year. Every metric you can read was bad for Clayton Kershaw, besides, the ERA and whatnot. So be very, very, very cautious. We'll ask Dr. A about Clayton Kershaw, obviously, on Thursday.
That's your headliner right there.
That is the headliner.
Followed up by Justin Upton.
Speaking of headliners, Nolan Arenado signs the highest AAV contract in baseball history, $32.5 million a year for an 8-year, $260 million contract extension, which goes into effect this year. Arenado off the market. Good for him, good for the Rockies.
Yeah, also ask Dr. A about Arenado, because he had a shoulder thing in the second half last year, and I haven't heard anyone talk about it. So I just want to make sure,
Is he still good? Was he still amazing in the second half?
He was, he declined a little bit. It wasn't anything too drastic. But, these shoulder things can linger. So, he's all right, one of the names, if you get to it, you get to it kind of thing with Dr. A.
He's on the end of the list.
Yeah, he's on the end of the list. But, I do want to know if there's any, residual effects of that shoulder from last season.
Yeah, batted .312 in the first half, just .275 in the second half for Arenado last year.
I want to know about that. But look,
23 homers in the first.
Great for keeper, great for dynasty leagues. You have him in a keeper league. This is great. Obviously for dynasty, being in Coors Field, there's
Forever.
no better spot.
Never leaving.
And look at his home road splits in his career too. So this is great for them. They're still expected to be a pretty good free agent class next year. One that will be headlined by Anthony Rendon. Looks like he's the best hitter available for next year. And there's guys like Justin Verlander, Chris Sale, Eric Cole, Paul Goldschmidt also up there as well. So pretty good class next season. I don't know if it has the same combination of youth meets talent that this one had in terms of Bryce Harper and Manny Machado, but definitely some better pitchers available next season than there are this year. This year was really Dallas Keuchel and a couple of relievers. Nothing too great in terms of starting pitching.
Absolutely. So let's get back to the outfielders now, and we were in that J.D. Martinez, Christian Yelich, and Ronald Acuna territory.
Don't do that. Don't do the
Yelich thing.
Uh-oh. Modica came on for one Monday, and he's already got you saying Yelich.
He got me. He got me yesterday. Christian Yelich.
How many times did you try and get Modica to not say that? and he just doesn't listen.
Every day. But like, I do that with multiple players for multiple people. Who was it? Oh my God. Who was it yesterday?
Yelich.
No. It wasn't Yelich, and it wasn't Modica. It was somebody I was talking to about a certain player. Like, kept saying the player's name, and I kept correcting them.
Was it Miles Mikolas?
No, it wasn't Miles.
Because I still don't know how to say it. Is it Mikolas? Is it Mikolas?
It's not. I think it's just Mikolas.
Mikolas?
Yeah. Whatever. I don't remember what it was. Doesn't matter. All right, so JD Martinez, Christian Yelich, and Ronald.
Great story, Greg.
I wish I remember the player who it was. I apologize now. It's annoying that I can't remember. It was just a couple days ago.
You should apologize.
All right, Frankie. Break it down.
Yeah, look, with JD Martinez, I would probably still take him over all three of these guys. I know some people might worry about the injuries, but look, he played 150 games last year. He finally stayed healthy. 3 of the 5 years before, 3 of the last 5 seasons, he was 123 games or less. So I understand some of your concern, but he doesn't really play outfield all that much. They protect him now. He plays a lot of DH. And, that obviously helped him last season. This guy's been hitting the ball hard his entire career. Over the past 5 seasons, he's been over 40% hard hit rate. He's been hitting the ball hard since it was cool to hit the ball hard, Greg. And, 93 mile per hour average exit velocity, that was 8th best in baseball. I trust this guy. 300 hitter, 40-plus home runs, close to 100 runs, definitely over 100 RBIs as long as he stays healthy. That's the biggest knock on JD Martinez.
Being a DH kind of changed everything for him. Obviously, he did that a lot in Detroit, but not as much as he could have with Victor Martinez, Miguel Cabrera there. Went over to Arizona the second half of that year, couldn't be the DH. Last year, essentially as a full-time DH, was able to stay healthy and play in those 150 games, and now back-to-back seasons of 40 home runs. This guy's ability to hit the ball completely changed when he revamped his swing, and you saw that in Detroit, and it just has not stopped. And I understand you have the age concerns at 31 years old, but 31 is not exactly old by any means, and I think playing in Fenway Park, hitting in that lineup. He is, out of Ronald Acuna and Christian Yelich, I understand that he cannot give you the 5th category of stolen bases, but I think what he can do is almost most replicable out of these guys. Like, I trust JD Martinez to do what he did again, more so than necessarily Ronald Acuna. Ronald Acuna, you're buying what you expect him to do.
That's fair, though, because both guys had ridiculous second halves.
Correct.
And even when we were talking to Modica yesterday, he's someone who likes Yelich. He said, look, regression is going to come, but even if regression comes, he's still going to be a very, very
great player.
He's going to be like a top 10 player, and that's why he's being drafted where he is in fantasy.
It shouldn't surprise you that JD Martinez's BABIP last year was a crazy 375. Yelich is 373.
But he hits the ball so hard. So you can't, okay, is it really a high BABIP? Or no, he's a great hitter. He hits the ball to all fields, and he hits the ball hard all the time. So that's why, his BABIP is as high as it is. Do you lean towards JD Martinez over both these guys?
I do. I pretty, I don't say easily, but pretty affirmatively, I lean toward JD Martinez over both these guys.
You know what's pretty cool to think about is Aaron Judge could be JD Martinez. He can be a top 5 player for fantasy. The biggest difference is the strikeouts.
Yeah.
Because they both hit the ball extremely hard. If you look at these guys side by side, it's Aaron Judge strikes out 30% of the time. Last year, JD Martinez struck out 22% of the time, which was a 6-year low for him. And that's the difference. That 8% strikeout rate is the difference between JD Martinez hitting, for a 330 batting average, because both of those guys hit the ball so hard. And Aaron Judge being a 270, 280 hitter, because he strikes out 8% more than JD Martinez does. He strikes out around 30% of the time. And that's the biggest difference.
Clearly.
If Aaron Judge ever cut those strikeouts down, then he has the ability to be a 300 hitter. But we haven't really seen that at any point, right? Even if you go month by month throughout Judge's career, the strikeouts have been pretty consistent.
Totally. What's cool about JD Martinez is the average has always been good, right? 315, 282, 303, then 330 last year. OBP has gotten better every single year.
You won't project a 330 batting average, but I said,
but I'm going to project a 300 batting average.
Yeah, he can be he's going to be a 300 hitter.
40
unless something goes drastically wrong.
With 40 home runs.
Yeah.
So,
what I'm learning now is, especially in these roto drafts, man, please grab batting average early. You got to grab batting average early. It's the only guys you're going to get batting average from late, and I'm kind of figuring it out now on the fly, is Michael Brantley, Yuli Gurriel, maybe Jesse Winker, Corey Dickerson. It's not pretty. Robinson Cano, he's another batting average guy, in the middle to later rounds, but you got to be conscious of batting average early. I drafted Jose Ramirez and Bryce Harper. mean, your guess is as good as mine as what they're going to hit because Bryce Harper's volatility and batting average has been all over the place. And we'll get into that too. But
definitely,
1 year he's a 330 hitter. The next year he's a 249 hitter.
Weird.
So his volatility and batting average is all over the place. Good luck trying to project his bat. I project Bryce Harper for 275 just because it's the middle.
Yeah.
You don't really know. And then Jose Ramirez, he's kind of sacrificed batting average the past couple of years to become more of a power hitter.
As I've said throughout the draft process, we're going to get into these guys in just a few moments.
I said Jose Ramirez because that was the other player I drafted here.
We'll get into this in a few moments, but those outfielders, the Stanton, the Judges, the Harpers, that are all going the second round, what's amazing about them and picking where you are for the opportunity to get them is they all have the ability to finish as first-round picks. We have seen Harper go off the board at 2 overall, and that year he was going at 2. Many people argue he should be 1. Stanton was a first-round pick forever. Aaron Judge last year, you made the argument he was a first-round pick. So all those guys have the ability to finish as a first-round value, which I think obviously is great value if you can get them in the second and you get the season that you expect. Before we get to those guys more in-depth, I want to then argue the Christian Yelich versus Ronald Acuna point. Because we both agree that J.D. Martinez should be the third outfielder off the board, and we kind of compared him to Yelich, and that makes me think that you also have Yelich above Acuna.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, and it comes down to the batting average.
Sure.
I trust the batting average more for Christian Yelich just because he doesn't strike out as much as a guy like Acuna. You're kind of hoping that Acuna is Christian Yelich.
Well,
maybe with more stolen bases.
Last year's Christian Yelich, not early Marlins.
No. You're kind of, based on my projection, right? So I have Christian Yelich for 300 batting average, 28 home runs, 100 runs scored, 95 ribbies, 18 stolen bases. That's kind of what you want Ronald Acuna to be.
Sure.
Maybe more stolen bases, but if he gets more stolen bases, that's going to come at the expense of his RBIs because that means he's going to be leading off. Because I truly believe that if he bats cleanup, his stolen bases are going to be closer to 15 for the season. If he bats leadoff, Ronald Acuna that is, he might be able to steal 25 bases. He might even be able to come close to 30. But then his RBIs are probably going to be closer to 80. If he bats cleanup in the Braves lineup, then he's probably going to be closer to 95, 100 RBIs. So it's kind of the trade-off. And someone on Twitter asked me yesterday, where do you want Ronald Acuna to bat? Because yesterday in the Braves lineup, he was batting cleanup. Mm-hmm. I said, I want him to hit leadoff because I want the stolen bases.
Sure.
So, I'd rather have the 25 to 30 stolen bases for Ronald Acuna. But with Christian Yelich, look, the second half was it was otherworldly.
That's why it was the MVP.
It was ridiculous. 367 with 25 home runs in the second half alone. I mean, you want some guys to hit 25 home runs in a full season. Christian Yelich did that in the second half alone. He had a 12.19 OPS. He did make some batted ball adjustments here. He raised his fly ball rate by 4%. The hard hit rate went up from 45% to 50% for Christian Yelich here in the second half. He's a legitimate 5-category contributor, 88th percentile in terms of sprint speed. So I trust the stolen bases are going to be, in that 15 to 20 range for Yelich. Maybe he doesn't have the same upside in terms of stolen bases that Ronald Acuna does. Still hits too many ground balls. Still over 50% last year. But it's trending in the right direction. I say the 51.8%, which is still very high, that was a career low for Christian Yelich. So he's slowly trending in the right direction. And look, his 35.6% home run to fly ball ratio was ridiculous last year. What was it? The year before, Aaron Judge posted a 35% home run to fly ball ratio. So, when you hit the ball as hard as they do, Judge's hard hit rate last year was, 2 years ago was 45%. That maintained a 35% home run to fly ball ratio. Yelich's hard hit rate last year was 47.6%. So better than Aaron Judge the year before. It was the 7th best in baseball, and he had a 35% home run to fly ball ratio. So, yes, it's very high. I'm not going to project him to hit 36 home runs again. But if he's hitting the ball that hard, it's really not that crazy because we saw Aaron Judge do it 2 years ago. I think the home run to fly ball ratio is probably closer to the 25%, maybe 25 to 30%. If he can still kind of maintain his quality of contact. But again, close to 30 home runs, a 300 hitter. He's a legitimate hitter. He's going to score a lot of runs in this Brewers lineup. Expected to bat second. RBIs are going to be there because it's still a very deep lineup. So even when it wraps around, I still think he's going to have RBI opportunities. And he's going to steal bases. So I think he's a little bit safer than Acuna. I'd rather have him than Acuna.
I agree with you. I agree with you for everything that you said. He's going to steal you a few bases.
I got to start saying something outlandish so that you disagree with me.
I'm sorry. That's how I have it ranked also. I think Christian Yelich, I don't want to say Ronald Acuna is Christian Yelich. I think he could be better, in all honesty, than Christian Yelich. I feel safer.
Might have a higher upside.
Yeah, I do.
Like, Christian Yelich's upside was what he did last year as an MVP.
Definitely. You got it. Like, can it be better, though, for Christian Yelich? I don't think so. Like, I think what you got last year is the best of what it could be.
Can Ronald Acuna get to that level,
I think so.
36 home runs, well over 300 batting average.
Listen, we saw...
like 120 runs scored.
So I don't know about the batting average, but, like, we saw 26 homers.
He strikes out a little bit more than you.
We saw the 26 homers in 111 games. Is it crazy that he hits 35 homers in 150 games? No, of course not. In 150 games, is it crazy to think he gets to 30 stolen bases? No, of course not. I do think it'll be crazy to think he bats 330. That's not going to happen. But I think the stolen bases will make it, will kind of take that part away. So I think Ronald Acuna's upside is higher. In the first round, I always want a little bit more safety. So while I have no issue drafting Ronald Acuna in the first round, I do have an issue drafting Ronald Acuna ahead of Christian Yelich.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And look, pre-injury, remember like when he hyperextended his knee when he was in Fenway, he was trying to run through first base, kind of slid across the bag, hyperextended his knee. That's Ronald Acuna. Before the injury last year in 29 games, he was, 8% walk rate. He was striking out a lot, 29% of the time, 265 hitter. He had 5 home runs during that stretch. When he came back from the injury, that's when Ronald Acuna really, really took off. 82 games post-injury. The walk rate up to about 10%. The strikeout rate down 24%, so down about 5%. He was a 300 hitter, 380 OBP, 589 slugging percentage. He had a 285 isolated power, 21 home runs in 82 games. So we talk about what is the upside for Ronald Acuna. So 82 games, you multiply that by 2, 160 game season. He could hit around 40 home runs. Like, that's what his upside can be. He showed that, like, as hot as he was in the second half last year, he showed it during that stretch. 14 stolen bases already during that time. So, again, he has the speed. He has the ability here to steal 25 to 30 bases. The upside legitimately is higher. It's hard to say, man. Like, yeah, I think his upside could be higher than Christian Yelich. I'll just say it like that. But I think Christian Yelich is a little bit more...
So you agree? So we're in agreement again.
Of a safer player. But the adjustments that he made, though, in season, Ronald Acuna, I can't stress that enough in terms of plate discipline.
100%.
Like, not chasing as many pitches. Before he got hurt, 32% chase rate. When he came back, 26%. Like, we're talking about a guy, how old is he? 21, 22 years old, Ronald Acuna?
He is 21 years old. He just turned 21.
Those type of adjustments mid-season, like, this is a really, really impressive cat here.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you. The upside is the moon for Ronald Acuna. Now, Frank, I know we're getting to the break in just a few moments here, so I don't want to start a whole new tier, but I think that tier we're going to get to after the break is kind of what we mentioned earlier. These 3 guys, really 4 guys, if you want to include Charlie Blackmon in him, that have the ability to be a first-round pick or have been a first-round pick just a few, years ago or even a year ago. That's what Aaron Judge, Bryce Harper, Giancarlo Stanton, and Charlie Blackmon represent. They're all going in the second round right now. Should they be? What should the order be for these guys? We'll let you know when we return. It's Frank Stanfield, it's Greg Sussman. It's the Fantasy Best Friends Forever here on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network.
The Fantasy Sports Network is hitting you from all angles with the best fantasy sports and betting analysis. You can catch the latest programming on so many platforms, there's no way you'll miss out on any of the award-winning programming we pump out every single day. You can listen through the FNTSY radio app, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher. Download our podcast through iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Audio Boom, and you can watch select programming on the FNTSY YouTube channel. The Fantasy Sports Network, your only source for fantasy sports and wagering anytime and anywhere.
Maurice Allen, 2015-2016 European Long Drive Tour champion, 2017 world number 1. Me personally, I keep my game face on me all the time. Especially coming out of the bunker, leaving the range, or even leaving the course. What's your story?
Go to GameFaceGrooming.com for all your athletic facial wipes and body cleansing needs. From the NFL to the NBA, DailyRoto.com is the place to win millions in daily fantasy. You can get the best DFS NFL coverage all season long for a price of $129.99 or dominate the entire daily fantasy sports realm with the Elite Package at $59.99 per month. If you use the promo code FNTSY, you get 10% off your Daily Roto package. Go to DailyRoto.com, pick your NFL or Elite Package, enter promo code FNTSY, and you'll be on your way to becoming the next Daily Roto millionaire. Bring this!
2015, 2016 European Long Drive Tour champion, 2017 world number 1. Me personally, I keep my game face on me all the time. Especially coming out of the bunker, leaving the range, or even leaving the course. What's your story?
Join the experts live on the air every day by calling in at 844-843-6879 to join the Fantasy Sports Network.
If you can't get enough football, Roto Experts has launched the NFL 365 Fantasy Football Package, which includes the best math-based seasonal projections and rankings available anywhere on the internet. Davis Maddock and the guys at Roto Experts are providing dynasty season-long betting, best ball, and NFL draft content each and every day this year to give you an edge regardless of what type of fantasy football you play. Save 10% right now. You head on to RotoExperts.com. Promo code FNTSY. That's 10% off with promo code FNTSY. It's the NFL 365 Fantasy Football Package. Only available for you at RotoExperts.com. But if you're used to the Fantasy Baseball Exclusive Edge package, which we've done every year in existence, well, please purchase Frank's Patreon. It's available right now. And I can't tell you this, it's cheaper than the Roto Experts Exclusive Edge Fantasy Baseball package. It is. It's all Frank. So please, help a BFF out. Contribute to Frank for $10. You'll get his updated Fantasy Pros rankings, $10 a month. And honestly, if you don't care about football, you can stop paying the $10 a month when baseball season's over, and then come back next season. Like, he won't be upset with that. That's cool.
I will not.
So,
Can't blame you.
$10, you get pretty much everything. $25, you I think get his soul. So, like, going
$25, I will basically do your draft for you. No, that's not. I mean, look, part of the draft, part of the fantasy baseball season that's so fun is doing your own draft.
But like, if
I will be there, like, on call if you need help.
Like,
go to the bathroom.
Like,
FaceTime.
There's a good chance on March 19th when I have my home league draft, I'm just going to buy Frank's lunch like every day that week, so I could text him during my draft, and he's forced to respond. That's $25.
I would rather you just sign up for the Patreon, Greg.
Okay, fine.
Well, you still owe me a bunch of lunches anyway. I think a few beers in there too.
I bought you beers on Friday.
Oh, that's true.
I bought you beer. Now I have to buy you lunch.
Did you buy me beer?
Did I not?
Are you gonna expense that?
No.
Oh, really?
I was buying the beers for
everybody. All right. I didn't know that.
No.
Well, thank you, Greg. We had a great time. It was fun.
It was fun.
It was a good time. Thank you for the beers, Greg.
I do still owe you 2 lunches, though.
What did we say? Shake Shack?
Is that what we wanted to do?
We haven't done that in a while.
We haven't. I'm going to get you dinner soon. We got to have dinner really soon, to be honest with you.
We have to have an auction dinner.
We have to have an auction dinner.
You never come to my house. But I feel like you don't want to come to Queens. You're invited if you want to.
No, I appreciate that. It's just like we have work and then I live close, so it's easy. It's just easy.
All right, if I invited you and Judy over to my house on a weekend for dinner,
sure,
you come?
Yeah, of course. We're BFF, man.
Let's set something up.
That sounds great.
I mean, Queens is it's not the easiest trip to make.
I'm sure I can make it.
All right. Would you take a cab there?
Oh, I take a subway. I'd probably take a Uber from when I get to off the subway. I wouldn't take the bus after that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I would do.
Although there is a train that leaves you right next to a bus that is like a 5-minute ride that brings you basically right to my house.
Then I would do that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't walk anywhere to get the bus.
That's fair. Can't blame me for that.
Just being honest with you.
Bougie Greg.
So we have our draft 2 weeks from tomorrow, from Thursday.
I don't even know my draft lottery yet for my home league.
So we have our draft 2 weeks from Thursday, and then we probably should have dinner next week or something like that. I think we could just do it during work hours too if you want.
Yeah, I'm down. So yeah, I mean whatever. Kinga got a new job, so she actually has to travel a lot, like going between like Washington D.C.
Oh wow!
So she's
you should go with her.
She's
been to D.C. before?
She's going she's leaving tomorrow at 8 a.m. She's coming back Friday night.
Oh, I thght maybe it was like over through a weekend.
No.
You
it's like
leave on
throughout
Friday.
Week, so Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some days available where, like, I'm not doing anything because she's not around. And I'm going to need food, so maybe one of those days. You want to feed me.
She's not going to be here. All right.
Maybe Friday night. Maybe, I don't know, tomorrow night. But I don't know, like, those are 2 nights where she's going to be gone. I got nothing to do.
All right.
Whatever you want to do.
Well, let's talk.
All right.
Okay. Should we have the outfielders?
Yes, we should.
All right, perfect. The Yankee game was canceled today, by the way, because of rain. I'm sorry.
Really?
Yeah.
That means that a lot of games are probably going to be canceled.
Probably.
Because they all kind of play in the same area.
Yep.
Hopefully Yu Darvish isn't, man. That's one that I really want to see what happens to today. Like, we are on Yu Darvish watch. He's one of the big names to pay attention to here during the spring. Let's see what happens. The Blue Jays-Red Sox game was also canceled. And yeah, that looks like it for now. A few other games are warming up, so let's see.
The Aaron Judge, Giancarlo, Stanton, Bryce Harper tier. How does that break down for you and why?
So I still have all these players in the same tier as Acuna, Yelich, JD Martinez. I mean, you can argue that maybe they shouldn't be, but to me, these are all like mid to late first round, maybe early second round outfielders. But I have it. Excuse me. I have it Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton. I have it in that order. So I have Bryce Harper the highest out of the three. And I don't disagree. Like, I heard Ronas talking about this yesterday on Scout Fantasy. You can hear him at 2 p.m. here on FNCSY Radio. He drafted Aaron Judge, I believe, 12th or 13th in our Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational Draft. And he said that Judge should be a first-round pick. I can't really argue with that.
Well, you did when you showed me the second half.
No, it wasn't the second half. It's the home road.
Home road splits. I'm sorry, home road splits. Yeah.
I mean, those matter more for head-to-head leagues than, in Roto, it's end-of-season numbers. Like, yeah, Aaron Judge is much better at home. I'm looking at it here. 322 hitter at home with an 1137 OPS in Yankee Stadium. On the road, he's a 226 hitter with a 793 OPS. So, he's more like Steven Souza when he's on the road. And he's Aaron Judge. He's JD Martinez when he's at home in Yankee Stadium. So those are stark differences. But for Roto, it doesn't really matter. It's like, okay, end of season numbers. He's still going to hit 40 to 45 home runs. He has the upside to give you 50. He's in a great lineup. He's going to hit, 270. And he's no slouch on the base paths either. Like, he's going to give you 8 to 10 stolen bases. So I do agree that Aaron Judge should be a first-round pick in 15-team leagues. If you're in a 12-team league, he's there on the turn.
But not before Bryce Harper.
To me, it's like, maybe Aaron Judge is safer. Bryce Harper is volatile. I've talked about this. Like, his batting average the last 4 years, Greg.
Unbelievable. 249,
319, 243, 330. Like, he's inconsistent.
Oh, he went the other way. That was weird.
I'm sorry.
Okay. That was confusing.
I was going from last year and back.
Yeah.
But he's inconsistent on a year-to-year basis. And we still don't even know where he's going to play. Like, the only one to me that you'd really have to worry about is San Francisco. If he goes to the Dodgers or if he goes to Philly, I mean, I'd love Philly. Philly's the ideal destination, obviously. Yeah. It's just a better ballpark than Dodgers. But if he goes into that Dodgers lineup, I mean, that's a pretty good Dodgers lineup, too. So let me try to figure this out, right?
So you mentioned the volatility. 273, 330, 243, 319, and then 249 last season. Why? What almost changes year to year that he has not been able to have a sustained batting average around 300?
So I think last year he obviously had bad BABIP luck, right? If you look at the 2 years where, in 2016 where he hit 243 and last year where he hit 249, last year, his BABIP last season was 289. Batting average on balls in play was 289. Despite his hard hit rate being the highest of his career.
42.3%.
42.3%. Now, he did pull the ball a ton last year, 42%. That was the second highest of his career. But guess what? He also pulled the ball 45% of the time when he won the MVP back in 2015, when he was completely ridiculous. So, these are things that I was looking at. He still hit the ball hard last year. His BABIP was unlucky. That's what it comes down to. I mean, he had a 289 BABIP. He was a 249 hitter. His expected batting average was 260. So, we'll talk about expected batting average a lot. It's not extremely higher, but a lot of the times, people's expected batting average, according to StatCast, is lower than their batting average. His was 11 points higher.
So I do want to.
He was unlucky. I mean, in the 2 years where he hit
exactly what I was going to say.
243 and 249, his BABIP was much lower than his career mark, which is right around 320.
264 in 2016, 289 in 2018. In the years they batted over 300 in the last four, back in 2015, his MVP season, 369 was his batting average balls in play, which also isn't sustainable. And then in 2017, 356. So, like, there's a wide range of BABIP. We've talked a lot about BABIP, which is batting average of balls in play this week. And a lot of times I've brought it up. Frank has mentioned, he's like, well, he hits the ball so hard, it's going to land somewhere. And that's what you kind of said about a lot of players.
Which doesn't,
or speed guys, they hit the ball on the ground, they run it out. They can make it.
It's not always a direct correlation just between hitting the ball hard and BABIP because, I mean, you could be unlucky for an entire season, right? Like, you're squaring the ball up, but it's like these guys have so many different shifts and stuff, and they know how to align their fielders where, maybe a lot of the times when you're hitting the ball on the screws, it's going right at defenders. So, and especially now as a lefty, with so many shifts in the game and, over dramatic shifts where, they're playing another guy in basically, right field that's taking away a line drive or a hard hit ground ball, it's a little bit harder. So, we saw it happen with like Mark Teixeira. What happened? Like when they started shifting him crazy in Yankee Stadium, all they tried to do was hit it out of the park. He was just trying to hit it over the shift. But he ended up turning into a 220, 230 hitter.
Constantly.
Because, it was just because of the shifts. But you look at the StatCast data last year for Bryce Harper, like the average exit velocity is still very good. His expected WOBA, Greg, was 96th percentile. He's in the top 4% in terms of like WOBA, weighted on base average, which is, another metric similar to kind of like it's a more contemporary version of like what they're trying to replace OPS basically. It weighs, ballparks and your lineup and it kind of it weighs it compared to like everyone else in the league. 96th percentile. So he's in the top 4% of the league in terms of his expected WOBA. Expected slugging percentage, 91st percentile. He was unlucky last year. He flat out was unlucky. What do you think? How would you have these three ranked in terms of Judge, Harper, and Stanton? Because I think if you ask 10 different people, you might get, I don't even know if there's like 10 different combinations, but you could get different answers every single time.
It's really, really hard for me.
Bryce Harper has, like, the reason why I rank him higher is he has the ability to hit 330. Aaron Judge doesn't have that ability. And the batting average is hard to come by. Like, Bryce has showed us that. His ultimate upside is, if you put together, like, all his best categories throughout the seasons, he can hit 330 with 40 to 45 home runs, 20 stolen bases, 100 runs, and over 100 RBIs. That could be Bryce's best season. Can Aaron Judge's best season be better than that? I don't think so.
So, I feel most comfortable saying I would put Stanton last out of these three.
I have him last as well.
Only because he strikes out the same. He definitely doesn't suck. He strikes out the same amount as Aaron Judge.
Bitter Yankee fan.
But almost walks 6% less than Aaron Judge. So, he has the powers the same, the RBIs are the same, the runs are the same, projected, of course. So if you're looking just for a couple of differences, and that's all you're looking for, that strikeout to walk ratio is enough for me to rank him last. Is that enough for you? I don't know why you have him last, but like, is that enough for you?
Yeah. I think
Aaron Judge hits the ball so freaking hard.
Yeah, and look, they both hit the ball. They both hit the ball extremely
hard.
I mean, they're similar.
Yeah.
They're really similar players.
That's what I just said. They're really similar. You're looking for differences on really similar players.
Giancarlo Stanton's probably going to give you like 2-3 stolen bases, whereas Judge is going to give you 8 to 10. Is that the difference? Maybe it is.
So I thought that
maybe the fact that you're going to get like 5 to 7 more stolen bases.
Last year, Stanton stole 5 bases. Judge, even though he played 112 games, stole 6.
Yeah, but that was in 112 games. So he plays 150.
In 155, he gave you 9 the year before.
So he's going to be 8 to 10.
Sure.
Those, stolen bases matter that much in terms of like, when you rank players in terms of like auction dollars, it goes based on like Z scores and stuff. I don't want to get into this too much, but it basically puts a weighted value on every single statistical category. So the difference between like 3 and 8 or 9 stolen bases between Stanton and Judge is actually going to push the auction rank value of Aaron Judge up that much more, or like just ahead of him because of the stolen bases. Like they actually do mean that much.
Okay. So you want to use stolen bases? I'll use the strikeout to walk ratio. Whatever it is, Stanton's last for us.
Yeah, I mean,
out of these three.
They're very similar players. They're both going to strike out around 30% of the time. And, you look at what's the outlier season for Giancarlo Stanton. It was his MVP year. He only struck out 23.6% of the time. Every other season in his career, he was 26.6% or higher. He's a, career 28% strikeout rate. So that's the outlier. His MVP season was the outlier year in terms of strikeout rate. He still swings and misses a lot. He hits the ball extremely hard. One thing that I did notice last year with Giancarlo Stanton is that, how about this, Greg? He hit 229 with a 779 OPS at Yankee Stadium. He was the opposite of Aaron Judge. He sucked at Yankee Stadium.
Had to get comfortable.
Yeah, but this is me making the case for him.
I get it.
Where if he hits 250 and the OPS gets up to 850, 900, where it should be for Giancarlo Stanton in Yankee Stadium, and his upside is maybe even higher. Mm-hmm. Like, he couldn't perform under pressure, man. He pisses me off. In real-life baseball, Giancarlo Stanton pisses me off. In the big moments when you needed him most, he didn't come through. I know, a lot of Yankee fans will say, when Aaron Judge got hurt, Giancarlo Stanton put the team on his back. There was like a month stretch where he hit 300. Sure, yeah, that's fine.
Played with a bad hamstring all year, too.
He did, but he's always kind of nicked up, though, isn't he?
Yeah. All right, so we both have Stanton last out of
not a clutch player.
Would you feel comfortable taking literally back-to-back-to-back? I know there's a little bit of separation in NFBC. Let me see who they're actually separated by. Hang on. So you have Judge in between Harper and Stanton. You have Justin Verlander. All right, that's a pitcher. And in between Judge and Harper, you have Goldschmidt, Story, Machado, Baez.
So if I'm kind of looking at this from a roster construction perspective here. If I'm taking Aaron Judge or Stanton, I kind of want to pair them with someone who's going to get me close to a 300 batting average.
You need some speed.
If I'm going hitter.
You need some speed, too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, so look at this team, for example. I'm looking at, my draft right now, and someone started Lindor, Stanton, Mondesi. You get your speed with Mondesi.
I'm nervous with the pitching then, though.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, he has Patrick Corbin, Blake Trinan, and David Price.
That's not good.
15-team league. You're going to have a hole somewhere. That's what it comes down to.
That's not good.
You're going to have a hole somewhere. Ronis, for example, started Aaron Judge and Alex Bregman. That's pretty good. Because you get the batting average of Bregman. Not a lot of stolen bases. Still. You'll get 8 to 10 out of both guys. I mean, you just kind of you got to chip away at the stolen base category throughout the draft.
I think it'd be awesome to pair Acuna and Stanton. That would be fun. Is that doable?
Not really.
No?
Stanton's not really going to fall. Maybe you might get lucky.
Who did the Acuna person pick in your?
Blake Snell. Because they took Acuna 4th overall.
Got it.
But if you get Acuna at 8 or 9, then maybe you could get Stanton.
What about the Yelich person?
Starling Marte.
That's interesting.
Telling you, batting average and stolen bases. You're getting a 5-category contributor in Yelich, and then you're getting Starling Marte, who doesn't kill you in home runs, but he also gives you runs. He's going to give you batting average. He's going to give you stolen bases.
Starling Marte.
You're making the...
Just earlier than I would take Starling Marte.
Yeah.
Personally.
In Roto, man. He's a late second.
All right, so you officially Harper over Judge, you're taking.
Yes.
Can't argue.
It's not going to be a popular take, but...
I don't think I want to do it. Can't argue. Am I going to argue with you?
Yeah. And I got Harper later than Judge and Stanton. I got Harper 5 picks after Stanton.
All right, we gave you the top 8. For the next hour, we'll give you a couple more. Stick around. Hour 2 is next.
Couldn't catch the live show?
Yes.
Make sure to download our podcast at the FNTSY Sports Network Audio Boom channel.
Oh, super.
Fantasy Sports Radio Network. News update.
In baseball, Carlos Martinez has been shut down for 2 more weeks after receiving a platelet-rich plasma injection. Cardinals manager Mike Schultz said the findings with the second opinion were similar to the first, so there doesn't appear to be any structural damage. Todd Frazier has been diagnosed with an oblique strain following an MRI. Clayton Kershaw's throwing program is on hold again after he, quote, didn't feel great while playing catch on Monday. That's according to Dodgers manager Dave Roberts. The left-hander was throwing for the first time in nearly a week after he felt soreness in his pitching shoulder last Monday. In the NBA, Boban Marjanovic was helped to the locker room late in the fourth quarter of Monday's game against against the Pelicans. Bowman was battling for a loose ball and got rolled up by Chuck Diallo. No word yet on any damage to his right knee. And authorities say New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft visited a Florida massage parlor for sex acts on the morning of the AFC Championship game, which he attended in Kansas City later that day. I'm Dan Strafford, and this has been your Fantasy Sports Radio Network News Update.
Stay tuned to the Fantasy Sports Radio Network for more updates at the top of every hour. The Fantasy Sports Network is hitting you from all angles with the best fantasy sports and betting analysis. You can catch the latest programming on so many platforms, there's no way you'll miss out on any of the award-winning programming we pump out every single day. You can listen through the FNTSY Radio app, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher. Download our podcast through iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Audio Boom, and you can watch select programming on the FNTSY YouTube channel. The Fantasy Sports Network, your only source for fantasy sports and wagering anytime and anywhere.
Hi, I'm Keith Urban. I believe every child is entitled to a complete and inspiring education. Music education programs in our schools help kids learn, socialize, gain confidence, and stay in school. But they need your help to survive. The Mr. Holland's Opus Foundation gives school music programs the instruments they need to make this opportunity available to every student who wants to play. With your help, we can keep music alive in our schools and give all kids the education they deserve.
Visit mhopus.org now to find out how you can help.
Are you, or someone you love, one of the nearly 1 million Americans living with Parkinson's disease? There is no known cure, but you have the power to help change that by participating in a clinical trial. The Michael J. Fox Foundation will help get you started. Visit michaeljfox.org/participant pack to download the new Parkinson's Trial Participant Pack. It's free and available right now. That's michaeljfox.org/participant pack. Visit today.
Fantasy.
I got Jose Ramirez at 8, but I think between Trout, Betts, Trey Turner now with this stolen base upside, a lot of people are getting excited about Acuna, Yelich, JD Martinez, Scherzer, and then Jose Ramirez. And then the next man up, I mean, I would say it is Arenado. I would take him over those starting pitchers. Being able to set your watch to 285, 35 home runs, 100 runs, 100 RBIs, even if he doesn't give you stolen bases, that's great.
Weekdays, noon Eastern on FNTSY Radio and on your popular podcast providers.
You're listening to the Fantasy Sports Radio Network.
Did we just become best friends? Yep. Best
friends forever. Fantasy, best friends forever.
Hour number 2, Fantasy Best Friends Forever, Fantasy Sports Radio Network. That's Frank Stanfill. I'm Greg Sussman, and joining us as he does each and every day in hour number 2, it's the closer, Chris Venture. What's up, Chris?
Yep, what up? Here to close it out in hour number 2, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
As my name suggests.
There you go. And we ended hour number 1 trying to break down Stanton, Harper, and Judge. How do you have those 3 outfielders ranked?
So right now I have Harper ahead of both of them.
Oh, so he agrees with you.
Yeah,
I have it Judge Harper.
Sucker for upside, you know that.
I have it Judge Harper Stanton.
Judge Harper Stanton. I'm cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think Judge.
My logic's the more normal one, I guess.
Yeah. Well, how does
it's the more Yankee fan one?
Is it?
It's the average draft position one. It has nothing to do with being a Yankee fan. I have Stanton last than that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Judge. I think Judge and Harper should be ahead of Stanton, though.
We agree.
I would say that.
Yeah,
sure.
We totally agree.
Yeah. Judge or Harper, you know, you could interchange those. Okay. I think they're both, you know, the upside's crazy for both of them.
So then let's get to the next tier, if you will.
I have one other player in this tier, actually.
Charlie Blackmon?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so Charlie Blackmon's not in the next tier. It's in this tier. Okay.
I like him in this tier, too.
No, but I think in terms of ADP, he is actually in the next tier.
That's kind of how I was saying it. But you have Charlie Blackmon's ADP right now is 25th in the NFBC over the last week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Frank believes he should be, you both believe, I should say, that he should be in that Stanton, Judge, Harper tier.
Yeah, he's like right at the end of that, yeah.
And I agree with both of you completely because he's another one of these guys, and I said it in the intro, that you're getting in the second round or in a 12-team league of a 2-3 turn that has the ability to finish as a first-round pick. But Chris, if you look at Charlie Blackmon, when many people think of Charlie Blackmon, he's not the same guy that he used to be, and I think that's why he's continued to drop over the past couple of years. Right. Steals. That's not him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you believe he should be?
It's not a zero there.
It's not a zero.
Not a zero.
Of course
it's
not.
like 12 to 15.
It's not 30.
He had 43 one year. That was crazy.
It's not that anymore.
But that's what you got. Seriously, if you plan your draft beforehand, if you're playing in a roto draft.
And Frank's going to keep harping on this.
you have to, if you don't plan on taking an Adalberto Mondesi or a Malik Smith or a D. Gordon or a Billy Hamilton at some point in your draft, you just have to chip away. You have to keep chipping away. It has to be conscious in your mind. You have to have, like, everyone on your team has to be 10 to 15 or at least 8 to 10.
That's what I was going to say. You're going to get a bunch of 10 to 15 guys.
That's kind of like what I'm building right now. Like, Jose Ramirez on my team is going to give me, hopefully, 20 to 25.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper is going to give me 10 to 12, hopefully. Mitch Haniger, 8 to 10. Gleyber Torres, 8 to 10. The only person I drafted so far who I'm basically expecting a 0 is Jesus Aguilar.
Yeah.
And I wanted his power potential.
Yeah.
With the counting stats in Miller Park in Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. And I thought he was like the last of that solid tier of first baseman. So I wanted to get him on my team. But seriously, like, if you don't plan on taking a Mondesi, Billy Hamilton, Malik Smith, or D. Gordon, you just got to chip away. It seems like, at least, every other hitter pick
Trey
you take
Turner
has to be, 10 to 15. Or you got to get a Tim Anderson somewhere that's, 20 to 25. Or you got to get a Meta Rosario that's 20. Like
a Peraza.
You have to be conscious of these things.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep harping on that, and that's basically where I think Blackmon's going to be again. It's 12 to 15.
What about in point? That's Roto, right? So
look,
you're talking about
in points leagues, volume is king. You want guys who are going to hit at the top of the lineup, who are going to play every single day, that you don't have splits concerns about.
Yeah, consistency.
And that's Charlie Blackmon too.
Yeah.
You know he's going to play every single day. He's leading off for arguably the best lineup in baseball with the best home ballpark in baseball. And because their lineup is so good and they churn out so many runs, he gets more at bats. So the volume is there. Like, he's great regardless of format, in my opinion. I think what people worry about and why you see him going is, to me, there were a few warning signs last year in terms of a few more swinging strikes, hitting the ball on the ground a little bit more. He's 32 years old. Everyone wants to be, 1 year early instead of 1 year late. So
I don't think this is a decline guy, though.
I agree with
the average shot 40 points.
Like, I think, look, he's gonna I think he's gonna drop a little bit, but I don't think it's gonna be to the point where he doesn't return second round value.
Yeah.
My projection for him is 290, 27 home runs, 100 runs scored, 75 RBI. Yeah, you want the RBI higher, but he's a leadoff hitter.
Right.
12 stolen bases. That's a second round player.
How many runs scored?
100.
He's gonna have more than that.
And exactly, like, this is a conservative projection. Even if everything comes down a little bit, you have to think about this. The last 3 seasons, he's had at least 111 runs scored and 29 home runs in each season.
Yeah.
So I think that he's at least still a lock for, maybe it's not 29, 30 home runs, but 26, 27 home runs. He's going to give you 100 runs scored. And again, he's going to be 12 to 15 stolen bases, and he's going to give you a good batting average.
And he even has the upside of even hitting 35 homers. I mean, he can do that. He's hit 37.
Yeah, I mean, if he has like some kind of random like renaissance season,
or if he just has, even if he has a month where he's just tearing the baseball, that could be the difference between 28 homers and 35 homers.
I think people will be surprised when you look at Charlie Blackmon's line from last year, and they see, holy crap, 119 runs.
Ridiculous,
holy crap. 29 home runs.
That's a lot, dude. 111 runs scored in 3 straight seasons.
It's very impressive. I think the problem is, I know you just harped on it, getting Jose Peraza later or somebody that has some speed later, but this dude is not a 30 steal guy.
No.
He's not a 20 steal guy. He's a 12 to 15 stolen base guy at this point.
That's it.
That's it.
Realistic expectations.
You'll see a lot of players do this where they steal 40, 30 bases when they're younger now. And he didn't have the power when he was younger. He was hitting 19, 17 homers. Now he's gained a lot more power and lost the speed. This happens to a lot of guys that get older. So you're not really substituting the power for the speed because he stole 40 at one point. Now he's stealing like 12 and 15. But you are getting something in return by him adding power to his repertoire.
The reason that I question if he should be in that tier or not is with a player that you hate, Frank. And that's Andrew Benintendi. Because Andrew Benintendi, over his 2 seasons in the major leagues, has 20 stolen bases in each one. So that at this point is more than Charlie Blackmon. Blackmon last year had 29 home runs. Obviously, Benintendi struggled. That department went down from 20 to 16. Many people believe that Benintendi can go back up in the home run department and has the ability to potentially get you 25 home runs and 20 steals. You get that, you're like, wait a minute. why wouldn't I take this guy over potentially a Charlie Blackmon? Because he also has the ability to have 100 runs scored like Blackmon does. Have an average around where Blackmon is. Strikes out a little bit less than Blackmon does. More RBIs potentially.
Walks more.
Boston's a good spot to hit in. Not like Coors, but Boston's a good spot to hit in. Frankie, you don't like Andrew Benintendi, yet you still are very much in on Charlie Blackmon. How come?
It's a good question.
Look, with Blackmon, he's done it 3 years in a row in terms of the runs, right? Like
stolen bases have gone down 3 years in a row.
111 runs. Yeah, I realize that. And, look, you do want to try and get the stolen bases. But Blackmon, Benintendi has been 20 and 21 the past 2 years. It's not like he's 30. Like, he's going to get,
He might get 15.
7. He might get, he's going to have 7, 8 more than Blackmon. Okay? I think Blackmon is still safer in terms of batting average, too. Because Benintendi, he was 290 last year. The year before that, he was 271. And he still struggles against left-handed pitching. Benintendi in his career sucks against left-handed pitching. Looking at this right now, Benintendi has a 234 career batting average with a 641 OPS against lefties in his career. Mm-hmm. So he's going to struggle against lefties. Yes, he's going to lead off for this lineup. I think the runs could be similar. He had 87 runs scored last year, but that was with him batting second in the lineup for the Red Sox. Now he's going to move to leadoff. So I think the RBIs come down a little bit, probably similar to whatever Charlie Blackmon's going to be, 75, maybe 80. And Blackmon's safer for home runs, too. Benintendi's been 20 and 16. The only way, and, I actually put a poll out before the show, which second-round outfielder,
I saw that.
Second, third-round outfielder do you want?
Benintendi's leading.
Benintendi's leading the poll.
Yeah, by a little bit.
31%.
Very little.
He's ahead of Blackmon, he's ahead of Marte, he's ahead of Juan Soto. So people are buying that the power is going to come. If you buy that he's going to project and move forward and become a 25, maybe upper 20s home run guy, then yeah, you're in the camp that wants to take him in the second round. Maybe you want to take him ahead of Charlie Blackmon. Me, I know that he's still young, but based on his hard hit rate, it was down last year, it was below 30%. I can't really project him to take the next step yet.
Mm-hmm. So now you would think I would
want to hear
jump on the Benintendi, right?
I want to hear where you are.
He's young. Come on.
He's young. Come on.
He's got upside.
He's got the
upside. Red Sox.
But I'm going to go Blackmon.
How come?
Just a lot safer, I think, right now. I do think, I understand why people would draft Benintendi before him, though, because I could see why, like you're saying, the lefty splits, he could easily improve on that. He's 24 years old. I mean, you can't negate that. He's growing as a player. He went from 271 to a 290 batting average. The guy could hit. I don't know. Stolen bases is a hard thing to predict. He could go from 20 stolen bases to 12 himself. I mean, it all depends on how the system, where he's batting in the lineup, how well he's doing, if he's getting caught stealing. All that stuff matters. So I don't think he's a prolific base stealer by any means. He'll never reach 30. I think he's going to be around a 15 to 20 guy his whole career. But the question is the power. Will the power come? And I think it will. He had 41 doubles last year, right? Eventually, those are going to turn into power as he gets older. But I think right now, Blackmon is the safer pick. I would rather go Blackmon. I think he's safe to the point where this could be, Benintendi's ceiling is what Blackmon did, not last year, maybe 2 years ago.
But Frank pointed out when you're trying to break down Judge versus Harper, and you're trying to break down Judge versus Stanton or Stanton versus Harper, whatever, that those extra stolen bases matter. They ultimately matter when you're putting your team together. Mm-hmm. And you're right. Maybe he's 20 stolen base guy for the next couple of years and then go down to 15, down to 12, kind of like Blackmon has. You're right. And maybe what Blackmon does...
Benintendi is safer for stolen bases than Blackmon.
Right now,
there's no doubt about it.
He is. And if you think that Benintendi can increase those home runs up to around 25, then you should take Benintendi.
Yeah.
You don't.
And that's exactly right. That's
you
the
don't,
case.
and that's fine.
That's the case for Andrew Benintendi.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And that's fine. And if people trust that, me personally, I think he might be closer to a 275, 280 hitter. Blackmon, he's consistently around 300. Oh, the batting average matters too.
Yeah, he could bat 330. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
He batted 330 once.
That's on the higher end of things.
He's a career. I'll read you his career, right?
Would it surprise you one bit if he hit 310 or 315 this year?
It would.
Blackmon?
It kind of would.
It would?
I don't know. I don't think it would surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise
2014, 288. 2015, 287. Then 324, 331, and then back down to 291.
So he's a 302 career hitter.
To me, I look at this dude. This is a 290. I think he'll hit 290 again. I really do. And I think,
but he's a safer 290 than Benintendi.
Oh yeah,
1,000%.
Yeah, without a doubt.
1,000%.
That's his low.
What is Blackmon's floor? Even if he starts to really regress.
280.
280?
Sure,
probably his floor.
Sure.
280.
What's Benintendi's floor?
250.
260 maybe?
I'd say 260, 265 probably.
So that's the difference.
That's the difference.
He hit 271, which that was his lowest. Maybe 270. Maybe 270 is his
But again,
floor.
and you accuse yourself of this, right? Like, he's a young guy. He was 23. He was 22, 23. Now he's 24.
Right.
So it's like he's still growing here.
He's been in the league for 3 seasons already, though, with Benintendi.
Well,
like this
34 games his first season.
Okay, yeah.
It was his first
it's
full season.
At 295
He has 2 full seasons in the league. If you're buying a third-year breakout, fine, that's you. But I haven't seen, in terms of where I want to see him improve, getting better against lefties. Now, Venture's saying he could get better against lefties, and he definitely could. But over his 2 full seasons, he hasn't. Hey, Ruben Odor is actually not as bad against lefties as people think. He hasn't showed it. He had, his ability to make optimal contact, hit the ball hard. And he hasn't improved on that.
And that's the thing I want to mention again.
Hit against lefties. He hasn't improved.
This is what I want to mention again. Is the hard hit rate for Andrew Benintendi. I know I've been fighting for Benintendi here.
What is it?
28%.
That's low.
League
Way
average
below
was
league
35.
average. That was the huge issue. He has to hit the ball harder.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
In an era where everyone is ripping the ball.
Home run to fly ball ratio under 10%.
Benny biceps back in the
how
gym,
often
bro.
do you see a guy go from 28% to 38% the next year? Like you see that happen.
10% jump.
10% jump is a lot.
That is a lot.
Would be pretty high.
But you can expect some sort of progression with this kid. I mean, 23 years old to hit 290 in the MLB, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Frank, what outfielders do you have ahead of Andrew Benintendi between Charlie Blackmon? He starts laughing.
I have Starling Marte and Juan Soto.
Let's get into Starling Marte then. Starling Marte,
that's my boy right there. Yeah.
Starling Marte was paired with Christian Yelich. We just said in your Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational.
Yes.
All right. So Starling Marte he's not spring chicken anymore either.
He's 30. Yeah.
He's now 30 years old. Starling Marte always gets drafted around here, seemingly every year, because of his ability to steal. 41 steals in 2013, 30 in 2014, 30 in 2015, 47 in 2016. In just 77 games in 2017, 21. 145 games, 33 steals last year. He has consistently stolen around 30 bases. Yes, again, he's a year older. It was always the home runs, the power that you were scared off on. 13 home runs in 2014, 19 in 2015.
That's when you thought the power was coming.
Correct.
And it disappeared.
9 in 2016. In 77 games, 2017 he hit 7, and then he was back up to 20 last year. I look at Starling Marte, and I see a guy that's probably going to bat 275 to 280 realistically, that probably will steal around 30 bases because that's just what he does, right?
He's a 286 career hitter, so...
275, 277 last 2 years.
Yeah, I know you're looking at the past
So
2
be
years, but
conservative.
2017 he was hurt. He played hurt.
Definitely.
77 games.
Yeah, definitely.
And he also, I think he got suspended.
Yeah,
that
he got
year.
suspended. That's what happened.
He got suspended that year. So, I mean, look,
Hurt
his,
and suspended.
his 2017 was a mess. 2016 he hit 311.
Okay.
So that's like the higher end
What,
of...
but
that's
what,
like,
but
that's
what,
the
do
higher end of
what do steroids contribute to?
Yeah, he
I
used steroids.
just want to say, what do steroids contribute to? I don't want to say just the power, but even the eye, right? I don't know what he was taking, but he might have taken the Adderall.
But the power came back after the steroids.
It did. 20 home
which
runs.
is
20 bombs last year.
20 bombs
Career
last
high.
year, 80 runs scored, 70 RBI.
So he's not a complete, like, nothing in power.
No.
I wouldn't project him for 20 home runs. I think he's more of like a 15. Probably like 16 to 18.
Okay.
Probably, he's like Trey Turner light. Trey Turner is going to give you close to 20 home runs. The difference between him and Trey Turner is
the walks.
Turner is going to give you, he's going to walk more. And Turner has the ability, he's going to give you 40 stolen bases. That's his floor, in my opinion, if he stays healthy.
Yeah,
but he has the ability to steal 50. He has the ability to steal 60. That's Trey Turner.
I also think Trey Turner could hit 25 homers.
But, with Starling Marte, the stolen base conversion ratio was not great last year. I mean, he was 33. He was caught stealing 14
He always
times.
is like that.
But he ran 47 times.
Clint Hurdle's going to keep sending them.
Yeah.
I mean, like what else? How else are they going to generate offense in the Pittsburgh lineup? Like he's at the center of everything.
He's the star, one of the stars of that team. So he's
he is the star of that team at this point.
At this point, yeah.
This is, and maybe you guys could disagree. This is where I pull him up over Benintendi because the stolen bases. To me, he's going to give.
He's a lock for 30.
He's going to give close to 35, maybe 40, with as many as he attempts. The runs, RBIs, maybe not as much. The batting average and home runs, I don't think it's that far off either.
We'll talk more about these guys, Juan Soto as well. But up next, Fantasy Best Friends Forever.
DailyRoto.com. Learn from the game's best DFS players. We don't just give you premier advice, we play every day. All major sports, all year round, we never stop. Industry-leading DFS tools and custom projections. And now, the DailyRoto.com Optimizer. In minutes, build and optimize lineups for cash games and tourneys. Learn from the game's best DFS players. Join DailyRoto.com.
Hi, my name is Lily. My mom and dad used to fight about money all the time. Then one day, I heard them talking about this guy, some uncle I never knew, called Uncle Sam. Well, they say this Uncle Sam guy wanted them to pay him like $1 gazillion, and they didn't have $1 gazillion. So they called this company they heard on the radio called the Tax Doctor. And the Tax Doctor worked with Uncle Sam's people. I think they're called the IRS. And they were able to work it out so my mom and dad didn't have to pay Uncle Sam very much money at all. So now mom and dad are happy, and I'm happy too. Thanks, Tax Doctor.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, call now and pay less. 800-215-1727. 800-215-1727. That's 800-215-1727.
Game time decisions.
Fight it could have been worse. I wasn't pissed off. Like, they screwed me. They charged me $50 for a bag, though, for a carry-out.
Yeah, I hate that.
Like, I'm starting to hate Air Porter. Like, I'm not using it anymore. Like, I don't mind Air Canada. I don't mind, like, Delta and United and stuff. But Porter, they used to be a good airline. They're just jerks now. They're slow. They're rude. Everything's always delayed.
Weekdays, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Only on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network. Join the experts live on the air every day by calling in at 844-843-6879 to join the Fantasy Sports Network.
Fantasy best friends forever. Fantasy Sports Radio Network. Great discussion going on here. I think it needs to, right? I think it absolutely needs to. Because we're trying to figure out what to do with these outfielders. And Frank has Juan Soto and Starling Marte in between Charlie Blackmon and Andrew Benintendi in his rankings. You can check those out if you give him $5 to $10, depending on what you're comfortable with, over on his Patreon. As we announced earlier, we are no longer doing baseball over at Roto Experts. We are NFL 365. So if you're looking for baseball coverage, Frank's got his Patreon. Where can people find your baseball coverage, Chris?
Not yet.
All right.
But I will be doing a Patreon.
Okay.
Eventually.
There you go. So Chris Ventura will have a Patreon coming out as well. And I'm quite sure if you direct message him and Venmo him, he'll probably give you his rankings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hook him up with a Fortnite season pass.
Doesn't
there you go.
I already got the free season pass.
There you go.
Believe me, if you want Chris Venture's rankings, he will get them to you. It's just a small price to pay. That's all it is. All right. So we were talking about Starling Marte during the break. Do you have Marte in front or behind Benintendi? I know you have Blackmon one out of those guys, like Frank does. You both have him actually in the other tier, but at the end of the tier. You both have him in the other tier. Where is Starling Marte, just Marte, compared to Benintendi?
I have Marte like right behind Benintendi.
Behind Benintendi.
Yeah.
How come?
Upside, obviously, of Benintendi. I think he's going to hit for a higher average than Marte. He walks more. He does a lot more things that I like. The doubles. The bags are going to be on Marte's favor. I think that the power also of Benintendi is either going to be on par with Marte or better. I just think he's going to improve in all the categories that Marte, we know what he's going to do. And you know what I'm saying? You know what he is at this point at 30 years old, even though he's had kind of an erratic career in terms of everything pretty much, especially the power. But I like Benintendi's upside a little bit more than Marte's. I like Marte as like a solid, safe play to draft after him. But if you want upside and you want a guy that could be your number one outfielder or a top 20 player, I think Benintendi is a guy that could do that for you.
So I think the reason that Frank, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Frankie, but I think that one of the reasons that you don't have Benintendi is because you don't think Benintendi could do what Ventura is saying. You don't think he has the ability to be that number one outfielder or hit the 30 home runs that Chris thinks he could grow into. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that is fair. I will say this. I think Benintendi's better for points leagues because he walks more. He walks about 5% more. They both make a lot of contact. They both don't strike out all that much. But the plate discipline overall is better for Benintendi. And again, the volume, he's going to hit at the top of the Red Sox lineup. He's going to see a few more plate appearances, at-bats per game than Starling Marte is, just because, look, the Red Sox lineup is better than the Pittsburgh Pirates. There's no doubt about it. So in points leagues, the volume, the plate discipline a little bit better. I would take Benintendi over Starling Marte. For Roto, right? Just kind of putting them up against each other.
The roster construction thing, too.
I think the batting average is similar for both. I think the stolen bases are the biggest difference. I think Starling Marte is in that 35 range, that mid-30s. Maybe even has the upside to steal close to 40.
If he plays the full season, yeah.
But, the home runs, probably similar, maybe slight edge to Benintendi. The runs for Benintendi, RBIs probably for Benintendi as well. So it's really the stolen bases, and I think the home runs and the batting average will be close.
Juan Soto's the other guy that you have in this mix, Frank. And Juan Soto, unbelievably enough, was 19 years old throughout last season. This year, he's going to be 20, obviously, throughout the next season. 116 games in the majors last year. He hit 22 home runs while batting .292. Struck out 20% of the time, but he walked 16% of the time. His eye is just ridiculous. Batting average balls in play was .338. Throughout the minors, his batting average balls in play was always above .338. He started last year in single A, moved up to double A, played 8 games, and moved up to high A ball, I should say.
Ball, yep.
Moved up to double A for 8 games. The Nationals said, F it. Get to the majors now. And he stayed there all year. Obviously, it was supposed to be a short-term window. Didn't wind up happening. He stayed all year. And if Bryce Harper does leave Washington, as may expect, this is going to become the Trey Turner, Juan Soto show. Victor Robles as well. This is what the core of this team is going to be. They're going to count a lot from Juan Soto, despite being 20 years old. Every sign in there says this guy should be a phenom. You look at his hard hit percentage, 34.8%, right around league average last year.
It's not great. The batted ball data is not great. But he's a guy that he goes to all fields, Greg. He's a professional hitter.
A number that you don't want to see, and again, this is batted ball data. Ground ball, 53.7% of the time. That's a number you don't like.
You don't want that.
He has to improve on that number.
Still hit 22 homers.
Hit 22 homers.
In 116 games.
Home run to fly ball ratio is almost 25%. Not great, as Frank said, not great batted ball data. If you're looking for reasons of potential sophomore slumping away, well, maybe that home run fly ball ratio comes down 10% or so. Maybe the ground ball rate doesn't improve. Maybe the hard hit percentage doesn't improve.
But the big thing is the walks. 79 walks in 116 games in 414 plate bases.
16%.
That's something that will not change. He has unbelievable plate discipline. He's going to have unbelievable plate discipline. It's that simple. And that's something you really got to like. And that'll help him from avoiding a major sophomore slump. Because he'll still give you points. In a points league, he's still going to give you points by walking and getting on base and doing things like that. Scoring runs. I mean, he's just a dynamic player. Listen, when was the last time you saw a 19-year-old player that didn't have a great career? It was
especially
King Felix.
One that did this, man.
Yeah.
A 19-year-old who did this. He had a historic 19-year-old season. And I'm looking at the strikeout rate at 20%, Greg. And based on his plate discipline, he had a 7.6% swinging strike rate. Reminder, league average swinging strike rate is, 10%, right around there. And league average strikeout rate is around 20%. So one of these numbers is out of whack. His swinging strike rate was 7.6%, but his strikeout rate was at 20%. So that tells me that that's coming down. Like this year, he's going to walk more than he's going to strike out. He walked 16% of the time as a 19-year-old. His chase rate was 22%.
Insane.
League average is like 30, 31. He doesn't swing at pitches outside the strike zone. He has legitimate, awesome pitch recognition, plate recognition, knowing what pitches are going to be on the plate as a 19-year-old. I mean, look, 292, 22 home runs in only 116 games, a 923 OPS, again, as a 19-year-old. A lot of the baseball podcasts and fantasy baseball podcasts I listen to talk about this guy like he is the next coming of Albert Pujols. In that ilk, in terms of being able to square up pitches. And I know you mentioned the 25% home run to fly ball ratio. Greg, at every level in the minor leagues, his home run to fly ball ratio was 20% or higher.
Yeah.
So what does that tell me? When he's hitting fly balls, he's squaring them up.
Yeah.
Like he's getting the best of these fly balls when he's hitting them. I will admit, the ground ball rate, it's kind of scary. I don't, I can't defend it because, I come up here and I tell people I want to see, more fly balls. I want to see line drives. I want to see a hard hit rate. The ground ball rate over 50%, I don't like that. But
how many of those ground balls are hard hit ground balls?
I mean,
that's the question.
And he goes to all fields, right? Like, you were watching, Greg, the games last year where the Nationals came into Yankee Stadium. He hits a home run down the left field line, then he hits a bomb to right center field. He goes to all fields.
Yeah.
Like, he can, he's a professional hitter, and he's only going to be 20 years old heading into the season. And he held his own against lefties, too, which I love. He's a left-handed bat. He had 279 with 7 of his 22 home runs against left-handed pitching.
That's amazing.
He held his own. Like, he did every single thing and more that you could ask of a 19-year-old.
Yeah, 292 as a 19-year-old is incredible. Yeah. Bro, in his prime, he's going to walk 130 times a year. Like, in his prime. He's going to do that. I mean, he's walking 80 times at 19 years old. I mean, like, he's in the majors. How's he doing?
His upside is he can hit like 320 this year, Greg.
Yeah, like he has major
Like, that's
upside.
what his upside is.
I have him ahead of Benintendi. I have him 9.
I knew that.
9. I'm serious.
I knew that was changing because you look at Juan Soto, and I was just
especially for points
because essentially, as you're sitting here talking, right? Like I'm just sitting staring at like stats and batting ball data. Like the reason that I knew you would have him ahead of Benintendi is because you want to talk about a guy that can break out, that can hit the 30 home runs, that can return you early value, become that superstar. Juan Soto is more of that guy than Benintendi.
Oh yeah,
he just is. Mm-hmm. So that is why you would have him ahead of Benintendi, and I get it. I get that.
He's not going to steal bases.
That's the only thing he's
we talk a lot about stolen bases, but he could be that next coming of a 4-category contributor. When we talk about guys like JD Martinez and Nolan Arenado, not to the same level. He's not going to be to the same level. But he could be a player who, look, he had 292 last year in his first season. You're telling me that batting average, based on what he did in the minor leagues, can't jump over 300 this year? And he hit 22 home runs in 116 games. If he plays 150 games, he's not going to approach 30 home runs. And then in the middle of that lineup with Trey Turner and Anthony Rendon and Victor Robles, that he can't, drive in close to 100 and score close to 100 runs. Yeah. He could be a legit 4-category contributor. He stole 5 bases in 116 games. Maybe he'll chip in 7, 8 stolen bases.
Maybe 10 on a good year.
He's not going to be a complete zero.
No.
But
who cares?
Legitimate 4-category contributor here.
He does everything else. Who cares about the stolen bases? You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, this guy hit 362 in the minors. His career.
Greg, you asked me during the break, what do you worry about with a sophomore slump?
Right.
He's a different breed, man. He's a different breed of hitter.
Really worried.
That's all I could say. His plate discipline, the fact that he go to all fields, doesn't strike out much. He's gonna walk. When he hits fly balls, he squares them up. Those are gonna turn into home runs. You're either find me a knock on the guy outside of the ground ball rate
or the stolen bases, right? But
find me a knock.
Dude, honestly, so for me, looking at it, listening, I'm gonna take him ahead of everybody but Blackmon. Probably.
I would take him
ahead of Marte. I'm going to take him ahead of Benintendi, but I'll take Benintendi ahead of starting Marte. That's what I'll do.
Yeah. Listen, you're either going to buy Juan Soto because his price is very high. You're either buying him or you're not. And if you're buying him, you're paying for him. You're going to pay for him because he's going high.
100%.
He's going very high.
100%.
And he should be.
There's one outfielder. We talked about the second base show, but there's one outfielder that's in between, according to the NFBC, Benintendi and Juan Soto, who's outfield eligible. That's Whit Merrifield. You would probably, I think, play him at second base more often than not. He goes off the board.
Not necessarily.
5 outfielders, you're right. 5 outfielders. He's off the board. I would take him after all of these guys that we mentioned, personally. I know he's a 40 steal guy. I would take him after everyone. Maybe
I have
not
him behind K. Riz Davis and Rhys Hoskins as well.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
But
I'm just where I have Whit Merrifield ranked. He's not in
this tier with me. These guys to me.
No, I mean, look, in some NFBC drafts, he's gone in late second, early third round because people freak out about stolen bases. So he could give you 40+ stolen bases. That's what people see, and without completely killing you in home runs, he'll probably give you 15 home runs. That's what people see, and then they want to take him at the 2-3 turn.
Are you guys talking about like on a roto level right now or a points league level? Are you thinking in a roto terms?
To me, Whit Merrifield is better in roto.
I agree.
He's very good in points.
He's great.
He's
good. I'm talking overall.
He makes a lot of contact. He doesn't walk all that much. He's like a 7% walk rate, something like that.
He had 61 walks. I mean, that's not bad. That ain't bad. He had 45 stolen bases. Right.
The Royals lineup is going to.
The average was very good. Right, 304. I mean, 43 doubles. 43 doubles.
He's fine. He's
a solid guy.
He's good.
But look, the stolen bases. At least, not in my points league, they don't mean much. You know, in my home leagues, I get 2 points per
I get
stolen
2 points
base.
for stolen base, too.
So they don't really mean much.
Yeah.
He's more valuable in Roto, I think.
Yeah, I guess so. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Chris Bryant, we talked about on yesterday's show.
Mm-hmm.
He's in this mix, too. We talked a lot about Chris Bryant, all of us, and I know you and I both like Chris Bryant a little bit more than Frank does.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to Rhys Hoskins, who we mentioned, Cody Bellinger. We really compared them a lot in our first base show. You probably play them in the outfielder, especially in 5 outfield leagues. You want some power a little bit later. You took some
Chris Davis.
Maybe it's Chris Davis in just a second. I missed Chris Davis. Where the hell is Chris Davis?
He should be around this tier.
He is utility only on some sites.
Utility only on some sites. That's why.
He might actually be on a lot of sites. So, I mean, it is something.
I'm assuming Yahoo will be.
He'll be outfield eligible on Yahoo.
I'm going to check to confirm that right now, by the way.
I'll check ESPN.
But he is, in the NFBC, he's only utility. He's only utility only.
What do you do with a guy?
He only played 11 games in the outfield last year. So if you play in a league where the previous year you only need 10 games played to be outfield eligible, Chris Davis will have that eligibility.
He does. He does have it in Yahoo.
If you need 20,
doesn't have it in ESPN.
If you need 20 games, like he doesn't have it in CBS either. I like that we all kind of play on different sites, so we kind of.
That is good.
You play Yahoo. I play mostly CBS.
It's great.
Play ESPN.
Ventura plays mostly ESPN. Yeah, he only played 11 games in the outfield last year. So if you need 20, he's not going to have outfield eligibility.
Chris Davis led the league in home runs last year, batted .247 for the 4th consecutive year. 48 homers, strikes out, a hell of a lot. 175 strikeouts last year. OBP was about 326. I think with Chris Davis, who probably belongs in the mix, I would say, guys, with the Rhys Hoskins and Cody Bellingers. Like that's like that crew's the crew to me.
But he's a DH. Or if he is,
if he's outfield eligible, I'm saying
he's actually a steal if he's a DH because people sometimes don't realize that he's around just because he's a utility guy.
Potentially so, but how do you feel about
utility only? Would you take him over Rhys Hoskins?
If he wasn't utility?
If he's only utility only, are you taking him over Rhys Hoskins?
Probably not.
Who's going to have first base and outfield eligibility?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't.
I don't think I would either.
I don't think I can either.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you do with a guy like that? You can't move him. He's just taking up your entire utility spot.
Look, when it comes to Roto, you're drafting stats. You're drafting numbers. You know, when it comes to the end of the third or early fourth round, you're looking for a guy who's going to give you 40-plus home runs, 100 RBIs.
Doesn't matter where it comes from.
It doesn't matter where it comes from.
Best player available.
You need to get your stats.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. And that's why he goes in the 4th round still, even as a util-only player, because he's going to give you 40-plus home runs. And there's value in that. You know, yes, the 247 batting average, that's actually close to league average. League average batting average now is right around 250.
It's kind of sad.
It's very sad.
Kind of sad.
But, look, Chris Davis, especially the tear that he went on in the second half.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he has the upside to hit 50 home runs.
He could. But you're safe.
Sure.
You know there's safety in him because he's been doing it for
48 home runs.
You know what you're getting.
You know you're getting. And that's important.
You're going to get 45 home runs. How many players can you say that about right now?
Only him.
Count them on your hand. Aaron Judge.
Oh, Aaron Judge.
Stanton.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Chris Davis with a K.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Bryce Harper. No, you can't say that about Bryce Harper. Yeah.
JD Martinez, maybe.
Bellinger do it?
He
can, but you could throw Joey Gallo in there, but I don't think...
Joey Gallo's a good one.
5 guys.
Joey Gallo's fair.
You could. He hit 42 years in a row. But
Joey Gallo's fair.
This guy's better because he hit more than 43 years in a row.
He hit 48 home runs last year. Look, everyone says, it's easy to find home runs because you can find them throughout the draft. You need more home runs to compete now in the Roto categories than ever before.
Yeah.
So it's not just like, I'll find home runs later on in the draft. Like,
As you
you need home runs to compete in that category. 48 home runs, 123 RBIs. And, we're sitting here every day. We're talking to Matt Olson and Matt Chapman. We like the A's lineup.
There's power here, man. There's crazy power.
He's going to drive in runs again.
Yeah.
He had a ridiculous second half, but how about last year? He upped his fly ball rate up to 48.8%. Hard hit rate, 45%. The guy's ridiculous.
Yeah. Strikeouts actually went down last year.
Yeah, he did.
Strikeouts went down.
I'm surprised the batting average wasn't better than 247.
It will never be better than 247.
Because look at his BABIP. His BABIP was actually low, but he hit more home runs, so that's why.
Yeah.
When we come back, the next tier of guys to wrap up the show: Tommy Pham, George Springer, Lorenzo Cain, Yasiel Puig, and more. Final tier of outfielders for today. Coming up next.
College basketball has reached the climax of the 2019 season, and the Fantasy Sports Network has you covered for all the news and betting information for the conference tournaments leading up to the big dance. Get the latest wagering and prop bet advice every day from FNTSY's top experts and analysts as they prepare you with the best advice in bracketology. Download the Fantasy Sports Radio app in iTunes and Google Play and watch select programming in the FNTSY YouTube channel. The Fantasy Sports Network, your home for winning big in the month of madness. It's calling the shots
Of the NBA, because I know that you tend to bring up 80s and 90s, and I think that every generation has a handful of faces to that league. Now, I think that it was because of social media, things changed. But in the 80s, you know, you had your super uber stars that became all-time great.
Weekdays, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern on the Fantasy Sports Network and on your popular podcast providers.
Maurice Allen, 2015-2016 European Long Drive Tour champion, 2017 world number 1. Me personally, I keep my game face on me all the time. Especially coming out of the bunker, leaving the range, or even leaving the course. What's your story?
Go to GameFaceGrooming.com for all your athletic facial wipes and body cleansing needs.
The morning after. The New York Police Department has received so many complaints about their sirens. They're looking to change the sound of their sirens because New Yorkers are tired of the incessant sirens. Is this like the millennial generation that we live in right now? They're like, the siren is too loud. I know you're trying to save someone's life, but I know you're trying to protect the streets. This is what people are bitching about now.
Weekdays, 9 a.m. Eastern on FNTSY Radio and on your popular podcast providers.
Discussing Frank's big draft decision. It's not easy.
Middle round.
It's not easy.
It's crazy. He's got to figure out where he wants to be weak.
It's a 15-team league. You're not going to be great everywhere. Yeah. Wrestling with some stuff right here. This is the stuff that keeps me up at night too, Greg.
Oh, just do it during the day when you're working, and it's much easier.
Yeah, but you know, so first of all, pick 8 sucks. I know you kind of like it.
I do like it.
But you have to wait so long on both ends. And you can miss runs either way. Because your pick 8, you have 15 picks before it comes back to you one way. You have 15 picks before it comes back to you another way. So you can miss out on runs either way. And it's like you got to wait so long for it to come back to you. Now, look, I know it's harder for, people who wait at the, they're at the end. They got to wait even longer for it to come back to them. But, they can make 2 picks in a close proximity.
Yeah.
Pick 8, you want to rip your hair out. You got to try and figure out, which positional run is going to start this way, which positional run is going to start this way. Trying to figure this out. I'm trying to plan my draft the next 3 rounds in advance.
That's hard to do.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Sucks, man.
Yeah.
No one's forcing me to play.
Yeah,
so
you should,
I'm complaining about
enjoy
it.
Yeah.
I'm complaining about it. It's not supposed to be stressful, right? It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
I'm stressed out over here.
I know. Well, that is a big league, though. You want to do well in that league.
I'm trying here, Greg.
Try your best, man.
Trying.
Try your best.
You want to have some fun, Frank?
Let's have some fun.
Up next, Frank's guy this offseason. To me, if there's one guy that I associate with you going into this year, it's Tommy Pham.
It's Pham. Love the Pham.
This is your guy, Tommy Pham. He is in a tier, according to the NFBC, going off the board at about pick 60, along with George Springer, Lorenzo Cain. I'll throw Yasiel Puig in here, David Dahl, Marcell Ozuna. It's a big tier, but that's kind of the tier. We're not going to get all of them today. We won't have time. I realize that.
Yeah.
But Frank, this is your opportunity. Why are you so in love with Tommy Pham this year?
Come on, guys. What's not to love about Tommy Pham? We've been talking a lot about stolen bases and stuff, and this is a guy who, all right, last year he only stole 15 bases, but the year before that he stole 25, and I think he's
short seasons too.
I think he's gonna have the green light, right? When he went over to the Tampa Bay Rays last year in 39 games, which is about a quarter of an MLB season, he stole 5 bases. So I think he can come close to stealing 20 bases. He's hit 21 and 23 home runs over the past 2 years. He's another guy where he hits a lot of ground balls, 49% ground ball rate for his career, but hits a lot of line drives, hits the ball extremely hard. I'm talking extremely hard. 48.5% hard hit rate for the season last year. In the sample with the Tampa Bay Rays, that went up to 51%. So he hits the ball extremely hard. He's able to maintain a high home run to fly ball ratio. Even though he only hits around 30% fly balls, he maintains that because he hits the ball so hard. When he makes contact on his fly balls, 1 out of every 5 of those are flying over the wall. I think he could be a 20-20 guy, maybe even more than that. Based on he scored 100 runs last year too,
and that was only 137 games.
Only 137 games. I know you kind of got to bake that into him because look, he's never played more than 137 games.
He's only played 2 full seasons. To be fair,
yeah, he's kind of an interesting dude, right? Like last year with the Sports Illustrated stuff, the article before the year where he basically said
he speaks his mind.
I'm better than the Cardinals players. Why the F are these guys playing over me?
Then he got traded.
Exactly. He was like cursing during the interview and stuff. He was very honest.
Yeah.
He wasn't shy about that.
I remember Nando said he loved that about him. He loved Tommy Pham.
Nando leaves. He's back to Nando.
Nando.
I said Nando. I'm sorry. It is Nando. Sorry, Nando, if you're watching.
But look, that was something.
I just got a text from Nando. He hates you. So.
Yeah, he hates you. Well, look. Near 2020 guy with 100 runs scored, 275 batting average last year. I think he's better than a 275 batting average. Looking at his expected batting average from last year, it was 287. He had 275. His expected batting average was 287.
He hit 306 the year before.
So, I think he'd be a 285, 290 guy, 2020, 100 runs scored. He's got to stay healthy. I mean, if the guy plays 150 games, he could be 25-25. With 100 runs scored, with a good batting average.
Yeah.
He could be
Benintendi.
And you get him 2-3 rounds later.
He walks a lot.
That's what I like.
Are you into Tommy Pham?
That's what I like about Tommy Pham, man.
I like the guy. I don't see anything really bad about him besides that I don't like the fact that he don't really hit a ton of doubles. Just hits homers, really. But
who would you rather have? Tommy Pham?
Plate discipline's great, too.
Tommy
Plate
Pham
discipline's good.
or George Springer?
I'd rather have George Springer.
Okay, how come?
The lineup. Just a little bit more of a pedigree under Springer's belt. And I think Springer is a guy that could hit 35, 40 homers.
Springer 2 years younger, essentially, than Tommy Pham.
Yeah, he's 31 years old.
Tommy Pham's a late bloomer. Like I said, he kind of had a weird career.
Definitely.
To put it lightly.
Well, a lot of guys come in late. It's okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But George Springer, he hasn't really lived up to our expectations.
He hasn't.
We've wanted him to be. He doesn't steal bases.
Nope.
Like, look at his stolen bases and his caught stealing the past 3 years. 6-4 last season. He went 5 for 12. So 5 stolen bases, 7 caught stealing in 2017. 9 stolen bases, 10 caught stealing in 2016. So
yeah, he's not a base
He's not going to give you stolen bases. He's kind of an accumulator. Like, he played 162 games in 2016. He needed all 162 to hit you 29 home runs and 116 runs scored. He's an accumulator. I don't
There's
think
nothing wrong with that.
No, it's fine.
For
But
our
he
purposes.
needs to stay healthy. Like the past 2 years, he's missed at least 20 games a year. Like he plays 140.
In 140 games, back-to-back years,
He
he
had
did 34 homers in 2017.
Yeah.
20.
That was down to 22 last year.
Absolutely.
His hard hit rate's not great. It went down last year, 33%. Seems like he's always kind of battling some kind of nagging injury.
Or mechanical problems. It could be mechanics.
What's your projection for George Springer? 265, maybe 270. 27, 28 homers. Going to score a lot of runs. He's going to give you 100 runs, 110 runs maybe.
80 RBI?
80 RBI, no stolen bases.
5.
Not known.
Give him 5.
5.
Give him 5.
5, okay, 5. Tommy Pham.
70 walks.
Tommy Pham to me, 280, so better batting average. He'll give you 20 to 25 home runs, so
Less pop.
less for sure. I think he's going to be 100 runs, so...
I trust more. I trust Springer more for runs.
I trust Springer more for runs, but I don't think it's that big of a difference.
I agree. I trust Springer more for RBI.
Yeah.
Not that big of a difference. And then maybe, 15 to 20 more stolen bases from Tommy Pham and a better batting average. So better batting average and better stolen bases, 2 very hard categories to come by in Roto over George Springer. And then George Springer gives you slightly more pop, slightly more runs, and he gives you more RBI.
And more doubles.
To me, I want the batting average and stolen bases. So I have Tommy Pham ranked higher.
If that's what, listen, it's close.
In points leagues, I like Springer a lot, though, just because of volume, like great lineup. He's going to play every single day.
He goes on tears.
He walks 10% of the time. They both walk a lot.
They're similar.
George Springer strikes out a little bit less. George Springer kind of like Chris Bryant.
Not significantly less, but
George Springer kind of like Chris Bryant in his MLB career. He's up the batting average. He's lowered the strikeouts a little bit more. But in terms of that, like Chris Bryant, the past couple of years, he's made a more conscious effort to make contact. Instead of, just swinging for the fences and striking out more.
I missed that.
So I think George Springer tried to do that in the second half last year also, right? So his batting average went up 50 points in the first half of the second half. 249 in the first half, 301 in the second half, right? But I think he made a more conscious effort to make contact, as you said, Frank. 15 home runs in the first half, just 7 in the second half. It was clear that he just simply changed his approach. If you want to look at the batted ball data in the second half, his hard hit rate actually was slightly less than it was in the first half. Okay. Ground ball rate, 50% in the second half. He was trying to make contact. It wasn't all great.
George Springer, 33% hard hit rate last year. Tommy Pham, 48%.
Huge difference.
I want to know George Springer's hard hit rates the 2 years prior, though.
I have that.
36% 2 years ago, 33% 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, that in a dashboard.
So this,
I really should add that.
I feel like this is like an outlier year for Springer, though. I feel like he's closer to a 30-plus to 35 home run guy than he is a 22 home run.
He did in 2017.
He's been a full-time player for about 4 seasons now. He's always kind of missed time. He's only played 160 games once. I mean, look, not a lot of guys.
Only played 150 games once.
Not a lot of guys do that. I realize
150
that.
games once.
But he's only hit 30. He's hit 34 home runs only once. He's only had 30-plus once, fans.
And that was the year he had. Well, actually, he didn't even have a full season. But the full season, he had 29. So 29's 30, basically. He's got that power.
I don't
has
disagree.
Yeah, no, I definitely give him the power.
I don't disagree with you.
I definitely give him the power advantage over Tommy Pham. There's no doubt about that.
I just wonder what happened to the stolen bases. He had 16 and 20.
Well, it's very simple. He's bad at it. That's what happened. He's bad at it.
He was 16 of 20, though.
This is an organizational philosophy thing. Carlos Correa doesn't steal bases anymore either.
I know.
Jose Altuve,
he steals bases.
Those are probably going to come down this year, too. Well,
as
because of injury.
So as Fangraphs notes...
They don't steal a lot of bases.
As Fangraphs notes, which I told you his ground ball percentage in the second half is about 50%. Last year was his 4th straight season where his ground ball rate increased, which is
really
very bad.
That is scary. You don't want to see that.
Look, in Roto, I don't really want Springer. In a points league, I'll take him.
Yeah.
Jesus, listen to this line. It's just tough to find any positive traits for him.
Who said that?
Fangraphs.
Venture's about to go knock on someone's door. Who said that?
He's a great source
Who said that? I'm getting my bat.
He's a great source of runs.
I got to call Joey Bag of Donuts.
Well, that's a great team.
This is Jeff Zimmerman saying this.
Great team.
We should get Jeff Zimmerman on the show.
Yeah.
After this. We gotta get
he doesn't see anything that's good about him. Okay. So that's why why is he a fantasy relevant player then?
Springer's once had a rounded skill set, but now has seen his skills stabilize and begin to decline. He's productive with little upside as he ages into his 30s.
I disagree.
You want to read Jeff Zimmerman on Tommy Pham?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Where are you finding these little tidbits?
Fangraphs.
Where though? The profile? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Read his profile.
What owners need to come to grips with is how much of the drop was regression and how much was aging when it comes to Tommy Pham, because he saw a bunch of averages drop from 2017 and 2018. His owners should expect a new 2020 season with a 280 average. He retains quite a bit of value on base leagues because he has a 12% walk rate. The big issue surrounding Pham is if and when, and if is when his eye disease, keratoconus, will become an issue again. A major league hitter with vision issues, blah, blah, blah. About his eyes. Fantasy owners are scared off by his medical history. That's pretty good. He's a 5-category contributor. Pham provides value in all facets of the game. While 2018 was a drop from 2017, his production should continue, especially if he stays healthy. Much more positive.
Can we just have you try and pronounce that word over and over again?
Keratoconus.
I mean, it's not an easy one. I'm not blaming you.
Why is he saying something about his eye?
So he had eye surgery.
Keratoconus. Is that definitely how you say that?
No.
When did he have the eye surgery?
Can we get the phonetic spelling?
Hang on, I'll look it up.
No, I do remember this was a thing last year with Tommy Pham. 100%. I think he had eye surgery.
Yeah, but when? I'm thinking. Did he play after the eye surgery? Because if he did, I mean, the guy walked a ton of times, too. 70-something times.
Listen to this. Hang on. Oh, let's. Oh, Jesus, that's us.
All right, well, you're getting inception
I screwed it
here,
up.
Greg.
I screwed it. Hang on, give me 1 sec. Here we go.
LASIK pronounces keratoconus.
Keratoconus.
All right, you weren't that far off. Pretty good job, Greg.
Keratoconus.
And here's your spelling bee word of the day.
Keratoconus.
It's pretty easy to say once you get
Jinx,
used to
owe me a beer, Greg. Tommy Pham discusses vision-saving surgery.
You look at that. Chris, is Lorenzo Cain in this crew?
With Springer and who else is
Tommy
in
Pham.
Tommy Pham?
Right now.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know.
I like him in the lineup, man. I like him where he is.
Lorenzo Cain's the oldest out of all these guys. He'll be 33 come April.
I don't have him in the same tier.
You don't
I have
have
him
him
at the start of the next tier. So tier 3
30
for
stolen
me,
bases last year.
Greg, tier 3 for me is Soto Marte, Juan Soto, Andrew Benintendi,
Soto,
Chris Davis with a K, Reese Hoskins, Whit Merrifield, Cody Bellinger,
Bellinger,
Tommy Pham, George Springer, Chris Bryant. That's the end of the tier. Tier 4 starts. Outfielder number 20 is Lorenzo Cain.
You have him as tier 4. Okay.
The start.
I think Pham.
He's a 3-category contributor.
Steals.
3 very tough categories to come by.
Steals,
Average.
runs, and average.
25 to 30 stolen
You
bases.
can make the case.
300 hitter.
You can make the case that those are the 3 toughest categories.
Yes, they are.
Not just 3 tough, the 3 toughest categories.
Walks are not a category, right?
So
average, depending on the league, average or on base percentage.
When it comes to
on base percentage, 395 last year.
Yeah, he walked 71 times last year.
Good thing we took him over Yoenis Cespedes.
Good call.
If you're watching or listening, Michael Florio.
As a callback to last year.
Well, Cespedes was hurt. I mean,
Lorenzo
he's always
Cain
hurt.
went in the middle of the 4th round in my draft. He was paired with Nolan Arenado, which is just fantastic.
Who else in pitchers?
Yeah.
That's a great,
it was Arenado,
that's a great
Nola, Syndergaard, Lorenzo Cain.
Excellent. Big fan of that.
Better than my team? Don't say yes.
Give me your first 4 again.
Jose Ramirez, Bryce Harper, Walker Buehler, James Paxton.
I like your team better.
Thanks.
I think both teams are good.
Yes. I would say he's probably done a better job after that. I don't really like Joey Votto, but he took Joey Votto, you know?
Sure.
This guy
average.
But yeah, like Lorenzo Cain is a perfect player to pair with, again, Arenado and JD Martinez.
Absolutely.
Because they're 4-category contributors, but you're continuing to get, with Arenado and JD Martinez, you're continuing to get batting average category, you're continuing to get runs category, but you're also getting stolen bases. And you can afford to take a little bit of a hit at the home runs and the RBIs because those guys are going to give you so much.
Yeah.
And plus, you can find RBIs and home runs later on in the draft. Mike Moustakas, you could get 10, 12th rounds.
So that's
you can
why
give you home runs and RBIs.
It's crazy how
you'll find a lot of guys like that.
So this is why I like Lorenzo Cain.
Lorenzo Cain. He's a good fit though, with these players.
Dude, he's a good player. I mean, the average is always going to be around 300. He walks a lot. He doesn't strike out.
He should go in the 4th round of a 15-team draft. He should.
I
don't want him as my outfielder 1, though. I want him as my outfielder 2.
I think he's a great outfielder too.
Here's the thing, though. The walks,
great outfielder too.
The walks, historically, he's not this big of.
But I think he's just gotten better, man.
Maybe as experience, maybe his plate discipline went up.
Yeah, he's gotten better.
But I think we got to expect maybe the stolen bases to go down a little bit as he gets older. He's an older player. I don't think the stolen bases are going to hang around much longer.
28 in 2014, 28 in 2015.
That's what I'm saying. The walk rate's going up.
11.5% last year. Walk rate.
Yeah.
At age, in his age
31 season.
32
season.
Yeah, because he's going to be 33
in April.
All right, then, some people might get scared off and kind of
ageism.
See the end coming here.
Yeah.
But, dude.
Not the end.
300 or higher batting average
The end of
4
Bears.
of the past 5 seasons. He's always going to miss a couple of games. Like, he'll probably have 1 DL stint per year. 90 runs scored in 140 games in the Brewers lineup.
That's turning into 100.
He does hurt you in home runs and RBIs. Like, 10 and 38, that's very bad.
Very bad.
He's not a power hitter. Yeah.
Very bad.
You don't even hit doubles. So, forget about it.
Yeah.
Forget about it. Forget that. Yeah.
Would you rather have Lorenzo Cain and George Springer, Frank?
Do I have to change my rankings? Nah, I'll still take Springer. Lorenzo Cain's a little bit up there in age. He's also going to miss some time. I'll take Springer.
Yeah.
We got a whole lot more outfielders to go, and we're going to do it on tomorrow's show. For Chris Ventura, Frank Stanford, Chris Pavona, I am Greg Sussman. Thanks so much for joining us, Fantasy Best Friends Forever. We'll do it all again tomorrow. We hope.
Be sure to